they
lazy,
don't do
man.
well, bro. It's
That's
crazy,
for
man. It's
lazy.
like people don't really like these originals no more. I don't get it.
Yeah, bro, they
Oh,
running
they-
out of ideas for these damn movies, bro. They done came out with every
All
goddamn
right.
And
thing.
maybe
I got a hot
need
take.
AI.
I got a
They
hot
need
take.
AI
I want to
now.
see if y'all riding with me with this. But sinners on the
Hold on, DQ. Before you start speaking, brother.
Damn.
Would you mind having that conversation, that football conversation with me, you, and Brad, telling us what
Oh
Yes,
happened?
I
no,
will.
move on. Move
I
Oh,
on.
we
will.
doing
Let me
this bad.
hold up. I definitely will. Let me get my point across. There's nothing I can say but respect. We play like ass. But yeah, it is what it is. But here we go. Back to my
We can move on.
on the lowest of keys. Do I feel like Sinners was not an original? I feel like it was a play off Dust to Dawn.
I
That's
said that.
me. Just because Dust to Dawn
Anything
was one
with
of my favorites.
I
vampires
agree.
ain't
I
original.
said that day. I said that day, DQ.
Anything with vampires not original.
I said
to me.
when I watched that shit, but see, the thing with Dust Till Dawn, they didn't say the one line from Dust Till Dawn. We got pink pussy, we got purple pussy, we
Fair
got
pussy, red pussy, wet pussy, old pussy, hot
That's the best
pussy.
line. That's my favorite part. Yeah, that was the funniest line in there. That was the funniest shit ever.
Oh, shit.
No, but I'm saying I said that when the movie came out. When the movie came out, I was like, bro, I know for a fact when he talk about his inspirations for this movie, if he don't say Dust Till Dawn, then I know Ryan Coogler's a fucking liar. It ain't no way.
He
Even
gives
ain't no way.
praises to Quentin Tarantino.
I
but
saw
yeah,
an interview he did. He talked about all the different things he borrowed and put in the movie. So I mean, I'm sure he probably, I ain't watched the whole thing, but
Yeah.
He
talked
had
about
to. Well, that shit is like a carbon copy. It's just it's like a black Southern version
of
of
Dust to
Dust Till
Dawn.
Dawn.
Crazy.
Even with the
Crazy.
two brothers, Smoking Stack, Quentin
Yep, they had
Tarantino
two brothers
and
in
George
Dust to
Clooney.
Dawn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this shit was like, it's crazy.
oh, I didn't even realize that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
like
the
really.
same
That's why I was
shit.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like,
That's the
okay,
same
okay.
He pulled from other movies.
Yeah, the same shit. It's the same thing. So yeah, I mean, he one of them brilliant jokers where you like, you know he pulled from some of that shit. Some of the themes in the Black Panther movies was pulled from other movies. You could just tell, like the sentiments of some of it. So it is what it is.
I still ain't
Yeah.
seen it yet. I mean,
It's
it's
a
a
great
good
movie.
watch though. I mean,
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I would recommend it for people. Like it's good. It's a good movie for like you take your girl.
Oh,
like
he's
that,
messing with Salma Hayek dancing with a python on her naked. That would have been it.
I know when he drank that motherfucking when he drank that what's the name off her motherfucking leg, I almost threw up.
That movie was classic.
I've seen like, I mean, we all been to strip clubs. That's why I put non-safe for work. But I've been to strip clubs and I done seen some niggas do some shit that make me be like, who raised you, bro? Like, I done seen dudes kiss strippers full on in the mouth. Like, what is wrong with you? Are you that in the moment? Are you in the moment that bad?
He in the moment.
Yeah, like you
the problem though, Bryce, I can guarantee you, I can tell you who it was that did that though, right? It was the guy who works in the office. Like, so it was like you can tell who work at the office at the strip clubs because like if you see like construction workers, they all just getting drunk, talking loud, you know what I'm saying, throwing dollars and shit like that. But them office guys, them office worker guys, them niggas doing blow. They doing blow.
You said they doing blow.
Niggas is living they ain't trying to have the time of their life right now.
Them the type of nigga that bitch shaking her ass all night. That nigga stick his face right now.
I gotta agree with you right there. Them niggas is having the time of their life. Like they go too far.
If they don't get to have fun during the day.
This the worst thing in the world.
Because we act a fool all day. You know what I'm saying? Like construction workers go act a fool all day, right? So, we talking about acting a fool at work. But like them office
I don't know if y'all actually drink. Do y'all actually drink or party with white people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
that's
you got to. You got to.
So hold on, Here's my point though. These are the most. They are willing. I realized early. I got like some Irish and Italian friends and shit. that I might go to bar with or whatever. This and other. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they just go too far on everything. They smoke too much. They drink too much. They eat too much. They scream. I can't keep up with none of them motherfuckers. At my best, the craziest people I ever been out with, and I'm talking about. And these are motherfuckers that are
See, when you
like,
live in a world carefree
just
like
go
that, for you can do that.
all kind of crazy shit. Like they just drink. Like it's like let's get
We got a
another
little more. We got to be a
round.
little
It's
more
like nigga,
cautious.
I ain't got no more in me.
We gotta
I
watch
can't
this
drink.
step.
I can't
Yeah,
drink
they
no more. Like I'm
carefree
done.
than us. We a little more cautious, like you know what I'm saying. My white friends, they drink and get behind the wheel like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
shit, bro, I think it's a good idea, y'all. Let's do
Let's
something
call it
else. You know
Uber.
what I'm saying? They like, are we good, bro? I'm like, we're not good. Nigga. Call the Uber. What are you talking about? We're not good.
Bro, I done been. We done left diners. New Jersey is a diner town. So the diner, when the club is open, the only thing open still usually is a diner, specifically Tops Diner in North.
Tops.
So I done been with friends where these motherfuckers are just pause, just whip out and just start pissing everywhere.
Pissing
Bro.
anywhere
Like
on
it's like
the street.
it's nothing.
Like it's
I'm
nothing.
like, bro, what the fuck are you
They live
doing?
differently, bro.
Yeah,
This is my herb. It's my cigarette.
It's my shit. I can do this. You can't, nigga.
yo.
I can.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I'm
can't,
doing.
nigga.
Remember,
You can't do
crazy.
this. Oh shit! Say they
But no,
lie.
I can't keep up with them. Them niggas party too much. They like, we like, all right, I'm ready to go. Now let's go to another bar. Nigga, fucking, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They living life, nigga. They don't want to go back to that house with that woman who piss them off, nigga. They trying to live as long as they can.
They know what they gotta go home to, bro.
Hey, what's that term? What's the term? Brass. They mortgage is underwater.
Yeah, they trying to forget life. They trying to forget life. As soon as they sober up, they gonna realize they wife done spread. She look like a young linebacker. Fucking kids ain't listening to them. Motherfucking mortgage underwater.
Why you think ain't no windows in Vegas?
Nigga, there's a nigga jump.
It's a jump off that motherfucker. Motherfucker going there, spit on blue him and wifey fucking lifesavers in that motherfucker. trying to get back. Trying to get back over above water. They done blew all that shit. Man, what?
Hey,
next stop, the 46th floor. He about to jump.
Hell yeah. All he been doing is East Coast cocaine. Just got introduced to that Las Vegas cocaine.
You know what I'm saying? Grabbed him a little hook off the street, a little Edward in the casino flow.
That nigga said East Coast cocaine.
That motherfucker been fucking with that whack ass China white. He over there with that Vegas butter.
They been fucking with that Midwest moonshine coke. They like Midwest moonshine coke. Okay.
He got his shirt unbuttoned tied. He got his
plate.
They call that shit Charlie out here, but like, I regular coming to you like, man, you got any Charlie? Like, bro, you get the fuck out of my face.
If you don't get the fuck away from me,
what's going on, nigga?
Yo, I ain't trying to make fun of Chief X because I know he gonna hear this. But it will always be funny. And I know this was a tough time in your life, my nigga. And I don't mean to laugh. I be having to mute my mic. But when he just be openly offering up that I'm a former dope
used to be a dope king.
That shit just ain't nothing.
Like, nigga, that don't validate nothing you saying.
No, that nigga said, I did dope. So I know how it feels when your heart breaks.
He said, nigga, my heart was racing. I know what it feels like because I'm a former dope fiend, nigga.
I'm like, but you made it home though, nigga, right?
Nigga.
Yeah, you made it home.
Your dope allowed you to go home.
Everything after that, I don't want to hear nothing after you said that. Everything after that,
I don't even care. I think you left now.
I'm telling you, it ain't the story that's funny. It's like Brad said, it's when he offers it up. Like nigga, there's nobody asking you
Ain't nobody gonna lie to you more.
for none of your
Well,
life
no,
story.
say what they said, but that's what they said. We all
A dope
grew
head
up
gonna lie to
knowing
you more.
ain't nobody gonna lie to you more than a dope fit.
The guy,
Wait, wait, I'm
Yup.
choking. I mean,
They
fucking
will
crumb
tap you
cake. This is
down,
good as
boy. They
hell.
will tap you all the way to the bank, boy.
All right, I know, I gotta stop talking to you. But listen, so nobody will lie to you more than the dope thing. But the funny shit is when Chief X finished every statement with, see, look, I'm honest. Why do you think that I would be trying to take advantage?
So I'm trying to teach you.
I don't do that. Don't make me out. And I'm sitting there listening like, but 2 sentences before,
You was on dope. Nigga,
you was on dope. I'm not trusting. I don't trust no dope thing, bro. But
low. Bro, I
I
got
wish.
relatives.
Sometimes I
I
wish I could
love
see
them
where he's
down,
coming
nigga,
from.
but I know they on crack, and I'll never. But they done stole my car. You know what I'm saying? I know not to trust them. What the fuck? And I love them to death, but they done stole my car before,
A
bro.
dope
And I
fiend
still
will come
love
up
them.
to you
You know
wearing
what
the
I'm saying?
shirt that your grandmother gave you when you was 16 and tell you that they didn't break in your house. Nigga, you got on the shirt that my grandmother gave me. They don't even sell that shirt. This here, my grandmother gave me this shirt.
Yeah, I had to go up to the
Like,
crack hotel to get my keys back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do the whole process. So it was like real quick. I ain't gonna front. But
Hey,
still,
Mujasi. I don't know if you hear. By the way, for all you fantasy, what's the name? It's tomorrow night.
all right, bet.
Just
Yeah,
so
so
y'all know, it's tomorrow night. The link is
I
in
just
the
did a
what's
draft
the
in
name?
the other league the other day.
I just did a draft. The draft this morning. Hey, Mujasi, we need a topic so we can stop talking about dope fiends and honesty.
Hey, my partner bailed on me though, Brad.
Hey, that's your
Find a
fault,
new
my
partner,
G.
man.
No, that's your fault. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something my grandmother always told me, Corey. Don't make your problems my problem. That is your problem.
You sound like my barber. That's what my barber say. I be like, man, I couldn't make my appointment, man, because they kept me at work and shit. He'd be like, bro, it sounds like you trying to make your problems my problem. My barber literally hates me, bro.
Bro, every black person that had a barber at any time in their life knows that they barber actually hate them for the shit that they was doing to them. Niggas running in late. Niggas fucking, I get you next week type shit. I ain't got it right now, but I need this cut right now. I look crazy. But Mujasi, we need yesterday we had a good topic, but I don't think everybody
Here's
could
a topic
speak.
I want to know. I know it's way off topic, man.
No, go ahead.
Man, listen, this shit funny. So recently I had like a little episode with my ex-girlfriend of 6 years. She wilding out on me. So I had to leave my apartment just to kind of get out of the Dodge. Luckily I got other properties. But I was talking to my homeboy, about the situation. And then I ended up seeing his wife recently the other day. And she's like, yeah, man, I heard about what happened. I'm like, fuck. I was like, I didn't want you to know because this is the last person I want you to know. But then I realized my grandfather told me the other day, he's like, man, when you're talking to a married man, just remember you're telling 2 people.
Oh yeah, all day.
You're telling 2 people your business, bro. And he was like, I was like, man, it didn't dawn on me until then. I'm talking about he told me this 20 years ago, and I was like, then my granddad did say when you tell your homeboy that's married, you're telling 2 people, bro. So I don't know, that's just off topic, but that just happened to me, man. That shit
all
weird.
my wife's friends have no idea.
I was like, bro, you told her, bro?
I was
like, yeah, I had to tell her. I'm like, nigga, you ain't have to tell her. It's my wife. I'm like, you got a point, but still, nigga, like that shit caught me off guard. Like
all
of
my wife, said Breeze, all of my wife's friends have no idea why I look at them the way that I look at them, because I know everything about them, no question. And I'm sure they know anything that go. It's like it's just baked into the marriage, bro. Who the hell got time for secrets?
For real, but it's just the way that all the wives sat me down and was trying to give me advice. Like, look, man, this is too much pressure right now. Like, how all y'all even know? I forgot. Like, all my homies is married.
It's like that with my wife's sisters, though. It's
40.
like that with my wife's sisters. Like, she done told me everything they done. I just be looking at them like, but y'all coming over here, got your legs crossed like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
all
but
sitting
really,
up,
Loose as a
all
goose.
uptight, like cut that shit out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know you.
Loose in the motherfucker, man.
Loose as a goose. I
know who you are.
When you dealing with that, but see, this is one rule we don't break though. We might do that. We don't look at anything other than marriage, and y'all ain't gonna agree with me, but this is how I look at things now. Being married, I don't look at anything other than marriage as a relationship.
If you ain't married, you
any
ain't with
kind
nobody,
of boyfriend, girlfriend,
yeah,
y'all been dating for a long time. I don't give a damn what y'all doing until you get married. As long as you got the option to just break camp with no repercussions,
yeah.
I don't understand why you putting yourself through all these motherfucking headaches. Like, there's no reason at this point to put yourself through that many fucking headaches if you can just say goodbye.
Get the fuck on,
and just leave. I never understood that. Even when I was younger, I guess that's why, a lot of my earlier relationships before I got married, high school basically, would be like, I'm not, it would be like, oh, you don't care. I really don't.
I don't.
I don't care. Like, it's not it's not a thing. I'm not going to run around just having all kind of whatevers, but I'm not married to you.
Nah, it was the new dynamic, like, and this is my friend group. It's like, damn, most of my niggas got wives and shit. Now I got to be a little more cautious about when we talk about. I don't want them to know everything.
Yeah,
like,
they gonna.
I mean, they don't tell them everything. Like, obviously, when I was talking to them all, it was things they weren't saying. Like, okay, I know he didn't tell her, some certain shit, but it was just a different experience. Like, seeing the women I know forever, y'all in my business.
When you married, it ain't a whole bunch of shit to talk about when y'all sit down watching TV or eating. It's like, hey, my friend said, let me tell you what that nigga did.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was like, how did you find out? He was like, well, I heard him on the phone with you. I was like, I guess that makes sense. You heard him on the phone talking to me some shit. You probably was like, who was that once he got off? And then he told you everything after that. So
what's up, man?
It is what it is.
Yeah, you fine as hell. Yes, you is.
All right. I got a topic and a question for everybody.
What's up?
All right. So, give you a quick little background context. I was on a radio show with some elders last year, and one of my elders asked kind of the question. That's what we came together to talk about. And it was, I should have known I was going to down because I was on the panel. I was on the radio show with like 4 elders, and I was the young person. I'm in my 40s. I'm the youngest person on the radio show. And then there was the host. But the question was, what would you say is the best decade for Black folks? What was and they only gave us the criteria, 1900.
So the best decade for what? You kind of cut out, Mujasi. My bad. I just want to hear what you're saying.
Best decade for African Americans, for Black folks. What would you say is the best decade for Black folks? What's your criteria of selecting that decade? What do you see, or what's emblematic about that decade that made that decade to you to vote it
in? Oh, that's a great question. I mean, if I had
if
to
y'all
really
can just
think
that
about
answer out, I'm not gonna believe it. If y'all can hear that question and give an answer the next,
he said,
"What was the best decade for Black Americans?"
It can't. That's the crack era. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm gonna say it's the 80s because that was the decade that I was born. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I wasn't there.
That is hilarious.
The 80s too.
The 80s, no, but he said for Black folk, not for you. And it can't be the 80s.
When I look at
that's the crack
Reconstruction
era.
after the Civil War, I look at Reconstruction, like we were holding like Senate seats. We had governor, like especially in North Carolina where I'm from, we had tons of that. Like in Wilmington, we had Black governors, mayors, Senate seats. We had all type of shit going on until that whole shit with the polls and white folks started wilding out. But when I read in history, that's a prominent time. Like we really was trying to really put our foot down and build some foundation. But that would be what I would say, honestly. Like when I look through history and Reconstruction.
I need to think on that. Because the only thing I can say
That's a dangerous question, actually.
Yeah, it would be. Go ahead, Logic. I ain't gonna cut your wisdom. Go ahead.
It's a dangerous question because I think in some ways when you answer it, you would have to be you would almost have to be like adhering to the benefits of, or at least what you could call as benefits of being colonized. Right. So unless you're willing to go back all the way before the 1600s to make an argument, you kind of are including that in there. Or am I wrong? Am I being too blanket?
Well, no, that's part of the acceptance. Like, okay, we're supposedly citizens participating and incorporated within this political economy called America. So the idea was in the context of America, accepting the reality that,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Reality. But, the argument was what was, and we had to take some time. I knew the topic a few weeks before I was on the radio show. So I had time to really consider and think about it and research it a little bit. But the topic was, we look at Black folks' progressive status and our challenges between 1900 and 2010. There was a point where some of us feel like we had an arc in our social, political, economic, financial, family, spiritual life as a people. And what would that be? What would that arc where we could say things was the best for Black folks at this time? And everybody, I would say I was the one that was out there. I stood out. But everybody kind of had different responses, different reasons. Some of them agreed on the same decade, but for various different reasons. So I'm curious on what y'all think. And take some time to think about it, because it's one of those where you may have a decade and then you may re-examine it, some of the context around that, and say, maybe I should rethink that. But yeah, think about that for a second. See what comes to mind for you.
That's a difficult one for me, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't.
Because see, the thing is, right?
I can think of the dichotomy of what answering the question. Like that's what I can't get around.
This is a show. This would be a good show, a good live show. I'm recording this.
I mean, to tell the honest to God truth, if y'all gonna be totally honest, right about it, right, it would have to be the most recent decade.
That's where I'm at. Okay, yeah, we on the same page. Because anything 1960s is, I can't say Reconstruction because Reconstruction was capped. Like it wasn't really like it sounded like a much better time than it was for us. Then you look at civil rights and civil rights movement. I can't use that time, 60s, because there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of shit going on, but it's too much turmoil. And then right after the civil rights movement, I can't even fucking use that because they didn't have the economic justice. They had the civil rights, but the finances was fucked up, plus the wars. I can't use
my first answer was going to be we yet to see our best decade, but I mean, I was trying to actually pinpoint this on where it seemed like we were making progress. So, I mean, the most recent going to be more, promising, but.
How do you consider it progress? Like, I mean, what's the measuring stick for that? Because if you consider it progress, wouldn't you have to go? You would again have to go before colonialization, right? Am I making it too hard?
No, you're not making it too hard. You have to.
You said the parameters was 1900 and up, though.
Yes. 1900.
Right. So then we are. Yeah.
Okay. I missed that.
Yeah. So you have to think about it. What's your criteria? I'm hearing Brad talk. I'm hearing him speak of politics, economics. But what is the variables for you that would justify why you think that decade was the better decade for Black people? Right. And it could be all of the above, but everybody have different interpretations and different things.
I would go towards Corey. I would say it would have to be post 2000. I won't say this decade because of COVID. I can't do 2020 to 2025 because COVID was vicious on us. So it would either be 2000 to 2010 or 2010 to 2020. And I'd have to look it up to differentiate the two.
The Obama administration.
Possibly.
You might be talking about the Obama.
No, 08. I might have to go
all the way to 12. I think you 08 from 08. Really, you can go from 12 to 16 if you want. Like, I don't know, like or 08
I'll
to
go
16.
08. I'll go 08 to because a decade I like to do clean 10 to 20, 0 to 10, stuff like that. But if I was being specific, I would start with 08 to 2018. Right before 08 to right before COVID. Because the thing is, it's the only period I can't really find, and this is just me. It's the only period I can't really find a decade where I can pinpoint one thing that was detrimental to Black folk. And where we were in a compromised position from stuff that I think might have been out of our control. The crack, i.e., like, here's the crazy part. Now, I was young, but y'all could tell me, what about 90 to 2000 though? Well, no.
That was when I had. That was when I had the most fun. I would say that was the most fun I've ever had.
2000. I can't do 90 to 2000 because that's the crime bill. That's mass incarceration. That's when they started. That's when they started that.
Yeah, that was the funnest time of my life.
Yeah, that's mandatory. That's mandatory minimums and all of that. Yeah, I can't fuck with that. At all. No, it would be 08.
So Josh would be
08 to 16. 08 to 18.
Josh, what was some of the answers you were getting on that radio show? Like from some of those.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah, what were the other answers?
So the average age, if I think about the elders who's on there, the average age of the elders at that time was like 70s and up. No, they was in the 70s. The host,
the real elders.
Yeah, she's like 50 something. But the elders was 70s. And so I was the youngest person. And so they were in the 1950s. And they were trying to be like, one of them said the 1940s, which when they made the argument, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. But they was in the 1940s and 1950s. And surprisingly, they were teens. I believe most of them were either teens or something like that in the 1960s. They didn't even say the 1960s. And so I found that interesting that they believed in the 40s and the 50s either one of the best decades, Black development, Black progression. And here's some of the variables of the book that I had to reconsider some of my positions. Marriage rates are high. We have more independent institutions amongst us. We have more landowners. There was more farmers. They said the Black middle class was much more. Our political astute, what they believe was much more stronger in the 40s and the 50s. Coming out of the Black labor movement, going into the early civil rights protest politics. They said we had a lot of people who were entering into higher education. We had less people incarcerated from our community. One of them anchored that the Black community was more associated to religious institutions, more tied to the church and to the mosque than any other decade after. So they had a lot of different variables to evaluate and test Black life at that time. And it made me think and reconsider my decade for a second and can consider what other variables made sense to evaluate. Because it's easy to say recent stuff, or it's easy to say maybe the 1900s and 1910s, but the variables in terms of statistics, Black life, politics, economics, our marriage, our family stability, all of these things I learned that I had to take into factor in order to kind of make that assessment for myself.
Yeah, to me,
I get what you're saying. It's just not, you're trying to say it's not one area that they're talking about, like a collection of areas where we were soaring high, is what they're saying.
Right.
Like, I can understand that. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't around for the 40s and 50s, so I couldn't really tell you. I'll have to look it up, but
the 40s. See, the problem with the 40s though, and then what's crazy,
and that's post the Great Depression, right? Like,
yeah. Corey makes a good point. when he says whatever decade you're in, because whatever decade you was in hindsight, we can look at the history books and say, yeah, that shit was crazy during that time. Right. But imagine somebody growing up during the Harlem Renaissance. They would be like, yeah, it's that one. No question. Or imagine the civil rights movement, watching all of that stuff take place. So I guess it would still be 08. It would be 08 to 2018 for me. Yeah, that's where I go, because we felt good. It was a good symbolic. It was a good symbolic victory too. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. We were the black people. Well, you know what? That's crazy, because that's what this means to me. Black people were excited about voting. Like the political turnout was different. People were happy about the politics, and then during that time, black participation because of Obama. I mean, black mayors, black governors, senators, that's when, to me, that's hip hop. LeBron and all of them. Jay-Z was at the top of his game. Oprah. Yeah.
I had nieces and nephews born during the time of Obama, and like the way we kind of shape their perception of the world, it's like we trying to make it sure like they don't see this racial lens. It's like, my nephew thinks Obama's like the greatest, motherfucker that ever lived, because he don't see it as like, black people had to go through this and that. He was born into a time where a black man was president, so this just seemed we trying to make it normal for this new generation.
That meant a lot. That meant a lot to me, bro.
Man, that shit meant so much, bro.
Meant a lot.
Man, that shit meant a lot, bro. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I never seen black people that charged up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just when I think about that time, bro, and the type of energy that I was getting, like, even amongst my friends, I was in my early 20s, so like me and my homeboys, I remember our conversation started shifting to conversations we never had before. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I felt like it made us kind of grow up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was polarizing, bro. That was
because all black
time, bro.
Boys' mother lied to them when they was younger, and you realized as you was getting older, my mother was lying, because it was they all tell you can grow up and be president one day, and you looked at when you went to school and you started looking for something that looked like you in them presidents. There was nothing in there. And then you look, and then as you get a little older, you're like, there'll never be a black president. And then to see one, I never forget Barack Obama when he walked out with Michelle and his two beautiful babies, the two young girls, when they was at Mile High in Denver. When he walked out into the football, his shit was so big, they had to do it at a fucking football stadium. And then motherfucking Beyonce sang what the fuck was the name of that song? She sang some beautiful song. Oh man. And I watched the inauguration. I always watch that shit, but it was just good to see black people so watching the inauguration. And she's singing Ave Maria and all of that.
Bro, you seen Jackson out there crying with fucking
with looking like a drunk ass
like, man, shut your bitch ass up.
Yeah, drunk ass crying.
Like when you see you fucking about that man on TV, bro.
Yeah, he hated Barack Obama.
Hated that nigga, bro. I never understood that shit.
I never forget
him and Al Sharpton both got caught up, bro. I would cut this nigga balls off. I'm like, bro, you talking about a black man on TV, bro? What the fuck?
I was at the inauguration that year. I went. That's when I was a delegate for Obama. I was up there.
Man. Remember that time? That shit was powerful, man.
I never saw black people at once. I'm not gonna lie. That was my first time seeing that many a mass of black people looking good. Dude, they was out there and they fucking.
Let me tell you where I was. DQ. I was when Jeezy and Jay did the First President is Black at Club Eclipse in Washington.
Wow.
I was there. That's where I was at that. When the niggas said my president is black, my Maybach too. And I was like, it was like, oh my God. And then on top of that, bro, that's probably the least racist white people time in the history of what's today.
That shit, bro.
That is probably the nicest.
Bro, my next point, I swear to you, dog. I had this job. I was working for the tires. I was a wheel technician at this job. I used to fix wheels on cars. So my boss, real deep Alabama Republican, You know what I'm saying? Cool ass dude though. He was a young homie, but he was cool. But I knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like to the, you know, just because I knew his family and his father and shit, I could tell. Even though he was a little more progressive because he was younger, but he was voting for McCain. I think that's who he was running. He running for McCain then? I think in the first term, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like, "I was gonna vote for McCain," but when Obama gave his last final speech at that last debate, and he came back to work the next day, and he looked me dead in my face. He was like, "If that man is gonna do what he said he gonna do in that speech, he got my vote." I was like, "Yo, this nigga flipped a Southern nigga Republican, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he flipped him in real time. I seen it, and I was like, "Oh nah, this is a powerful brother right here, bro. We got to get behind this dude, man." Like that shit made me like really be like, "Yo, it's some hope out this motherfucker." Like I actually bought into Obama message, like with the hope and all the hope, and yes we can. Like I was on board, nigga. I'm gonna be real with you.
Well, it was one of the things for our generation where we finally had somebody where we could say we had an MLK. Like I know what having. I know.
Oh yeah,
what
that's what
Luther
that
King
felt like,
walking
right?
around
Yeah,
was
that's
like.
a good question. That's a great point right there. That's what that felt like. Right?
I know because of Barack Obama. I know what it was like to have Martin Luther King walking around, because that was Obama, bro. When that nigga spoke, anytime I stopped and listened. He's probably the greatest orator besides Malcolm and Martin and them. But as far as like to sit and speak, oh, he's amazing, bro. Amazing. Yeah. But what you was about to say, Corey, I apologize. I think I cut you off. I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. I guess I wasn't Corey.
So I'm gonna push on y'all just a little bit. I'm gonna be a little strict with defining decade. So we're talking about when Barack was elected, kind of that era. Now we're saying from 20,000 to 2010, that was the best era for Black folks because of the political climate, or are we saying from 2010 to 2020?
That decade Obama, that 8 years Obama was in. I'll shave off 2 and say that.
Let me look up something real quick.
I'll shave off 2 years and say that 8 years was pretty,
yeah,
pretty big time for us.
2000. Let me look at something. Let me see some other accomplishments real quick. Because see, here's the thing. I'm almost not gonna say 2010 to 2020 because COVID was 2019. So that was the beginnings of COVID. But give me 1 second. Y'all can go ahead. I'm just looking up.
Because one of the things that I want to make sure we're considering is that, you know, there's a lot of variables that we can use and a combination of variables we can use to assess what's the best decade. And I do agree that our political climate, especially our participation and aspiration from the political climate, is really important for us to assess how we feel about that. But what other criteria can we consider that joins or maybe contradicts that variable and that may impact our assessment? Because despite the fact that Obama, you know, he got elected and it was a high spirit, audacity of hope, we had some inspiration briefly, it was also followed by some of the most hyper political deep profile assassinations and lynchings on behalf of militarized law enforcement for several years after that. On this kind of pseudo movement called Black Lives Matter and all these other pieces, but there was a lot of illusionment that happened during that time too.
All right, so I'm gonna give you 2,000. Go ahead, finish. I apologize.
I'm just saying here, when we consider that, we might have to assess that along with I'll end that.
I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna do the good and the bad. I'm gonna go 2000, 2010, right?
Okay.
Because I forgot which decade was the largest Black middle class in U.S. history up to that point. So 2000 is post-Clinton. So the end of the Clinton years. So that's when, and for me, LeBron coming into the league, that was important to me. So that's like the personal part. So LeBron came into the league during that time. Jay-Z was important during that time. I was in high school at the time. Then you also got to remember, you got Condoleezza Rice at that time. You got Colin Powell at that time. I mean, holding top positions at that time. And then you got Obama elected in 2008. But then the only now I'm going to give the drawbacks. Hurricane Katrina. So that in and of itself is kind of like COVID, but it's not. And then you still had mass incarceration. 2010 to 2019, the reason why I won't do those is even though that's when you get the billionaires, Jay, LeBron, Jordan, Oprah, Robert Smith, you get social media during that time, and you get Black Lives Matter. But in hindsight, that's also when you get Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, and that's when the wealth gap got crazy in 2008. 2008, 2009 is when the wealth gap went. It went and it damn near tripled almost. So I'm gonna go 2000 to 2010 and just deal with the mass incarcerations in Hurricane Katrina. Because 2019 is still COVID, no matter how you lay it down. And if I go 2010 to 2020 to be specific, that's the first year of COVID, and that was terrible for Black people. Terrible. It was terrible.
This is a good conversation. That's crazy. The COVID. For me, I would have to go historical. I would probably say it would have to be a toss-up between Reconstruction and the Civil Rights era.
That's what I said. Reconstruction.
Yeah.
Let me put a little barriers first.
But you gotta put a time period though.
Yeah, the time period.
You got to do 10 years. A decade.
Hold on. Because I agree. Well, I agree with Chef and I agree with Sid on. Yeah, I would go back that far. But in the context of the conversation we were having on the radio show last year, it's between 1900 and 2020. So, see, Chef, if you could stay within that time frame, what decade would you lean towards within that time frame?
Then it would have to be civil rights. It would have to be the civil rights era. So I will put it in between 54 and 68.
Nope, can't do that.
Why?
You got to be a 50.
It's 10 year. It's a 10-year.
No, but we know no, but the rules is because I tried to go 08 to 18 and they told me I couldn't. So I'm not telling you.
What's the rule? What's the rule?
You got to go. It's got to be a clear decade, like so 1950 to 1960, or 1960 to 1970. Because I said 08 to 8, from Obama's election to 18, that's the best 10-year period for me. But they told me I had to pick 2000 or 2010, one of them. Because I would go back further if I could just pick a 10-year period. I'd probably go back further, but it probably still would be Obama because that's my lifetime.
Well,
and part of the reason why
I would probably do the 60s then.
So 60 to 70?
Yeah, I would, and look at all of the games and the solidarity that Black people had.
What was the Panthers? 60s, right?
Yeah, 66.
And they went into the 70s. So, but I would say from 60 to 70 because Black people had a single-minded goal, damn near. You know what I mean? We was all on damn near on the same accord. You dig what I'm saying? To just whether you agree with integration or not, everybody still wanted civil rights. You dig what I'm saying? So it wasn't restricted to just integration. People wanted their civil rights. So you know what I mean? I think in that solidarity and that fight to getting our civil rights, you've seen the most activism, and participation by a myriad of different Black groups with that same single-minded aim. So and our current world that we live in is a result of that that single-minded aim and that push that was put forth from 60 to 70. So I'll say from 60 to 70 was probably the best era for us.
All right, I got a couple questions. Couple questions. First off, how was those lamb chops and grits?
Yo, I was about to post a picture because I was eating. I just smashed them
Because I'm gonna tell you, Chef, I just Instacarted some lamb chops.
Yeah, lamb chop and grits.
I don't even bullshit. You think I'm playing? If you know me, you know I'm dead serious. So I Instacarted some lamb chops, and I'm going to have lamb chops and grits either tomorrow or Thursday morning. I'm gonna let you know. But all right, so. But how do you deal with? This is recorded, but I want to do this show live too. How do you deal with the assassinations of Evers, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King in that decade? Too, like knowing that we got these powerful people, but knowing that they only exist at the whim
in a wild way. It's almost showing that their assassinations actually show that progress to a degree. I don't know, in a way, to me, it's like
it do. Because if they wouldn't have been making them strides, right, then they wouldn't have died. You know what I mean? That showed that the pressure that they was putting on, you know what I mean, the situation caused white people to have to start whacking niggas. You feel me?
Right.
So I mean, yeah, that shows that they was powerful and moving America forward. You know what I mean? The civil rights movement actually moved the nation forward. America can't be what it is if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. So all of the things that people talk about America is great for is because of the civil rights movement. The American freedom and all of that shit that everybody talk about, American freedom, justice, everybody got their rights. That wouldn't have been true without Black people in the civil rights movement. We made America live up to its ideals. Those ideals would have been hollow if it wasn't for African Americans making, the Constitution real. The Constitution wasn't real, right? It was a hollow document until Black people made America have to stand on it.
There you go.
Like, so from 60 to, I gotta get, we did our thing, yo. We did our thing. You know what I mean? We even made white people, right? We even made white people be real Americans. When those white people had to march with us, when those white people had the legislation and all of that shit to give us out, they became Americans at that point. Like, they became a part of the Constitution in real life. So I think that's the greatest period for African Americans and probably the greatest period for Americans in general. That's my piece.
And Chef, there's a piece, I always say, Chef, African Americans showed the world how to behave. I know y'all heard me say that before.
There you go. Right there. Right there. That's it. That foundationally, Black folks have showed humanity how to be moral. If it wasn't for Black folks, we will still struggle with how human beings react to oppressive conditions. And I can, we could say that. We can make an argument for that.
We can make an argument for that.
Yeah, we can make an argument for that and ground it with that. One of the things I will add into what Chef said, because that's what I came to the radio show with last year with, is that I said I'm going to ground this in the 60s because of Black power and protests and this and that. And I also said that in that decade, you could still see some of the highest marital rates amongst Black families. You can still see a centralized community around Black churches and extended family homes. You could see a participation of Black businesses. It's the 60s when we started to see the early declination of Black businesses to integrative practices. But it's still in the 60s that we still patronize and we still had higher Black ownerships of institutions and business pillars in our community. We still had that. Education, even though there was some discrepancies between the different communities, because of segregation, the unexpected benefits of segregation is that Black children saw Black teachers and they saw Black principals and they saw Black counselors, and they had some type of visionary purpose. Even though it existed in the 50s as well too, we have visionary purposes on why education was still critically important to our progressive and liberation for our people. And so the 60s had so much there. It was still one of the epicenters at times and eras of our migration patterns. But when you look at how Black folks was migrating, we were migrating to other Black spaces up north and to the west. And so there was so much that I could continue to make more arguments around the 60s. There's still pieces around how we understood our political reality, how we understood our global reality as well too. Black folks traveled in the 60s as well too. We started taking trips to not only the Caribbeans, but we were in Africa a little bit more in that decade than we saw in previous decades. What else can I tried to make the argument for with the 60s? Oh, they beat me down too. They sat me in the corner, put the little cone on my head and say, look, you sit there and listen for a little while.
Because you're young. You was young.
I'm young.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm a young cat. And they was like, you wasn't even around in the 60s. I said, I know, but I read these pieces. So they still schooled me. But I also made the argument that one of the things that I appreciated about the 60s, and this can be controversial and debatable, is that when it came to what a man was and what a woman was in the community, in the family, in the home, and our definitions in terms of what was prescribed to building up children, it was a little bit more set. It was more structured. It was more defined. There was more a value set on how you define a man and how you define a woman. A Black man and a Black woman at that time, even though that was also the time where you started seeing agencies happen on a political level that begin to disenfranchise the Black family and separate the father from the family in order for us to economically survive and be able to receive the resources from welfare. You still had a collaboration and a co-parenting partnership between Black men, Black women in terms of the family unit. And I also made the argument that the literary development of Black folks during that time soared. You had Black folks publishing, Black folks writing. You had and the Harlem Renaissance was, the 20s was still big, but the 60s is when you start seeing not only poets, but you start seeing more brothers behind films, behind cameras. You start seeing more brothers and sisters in front of the camera, writing novels, writing scientific pieces. There was a lot that was produced within that decade that I still make the argument for the 60s. Now, do I stand on that to this day? After they schooled me and after I had other side conversations with people later on, I reconsidered some things. I still have a favorability. I still have a inclination towards the 60s, but I've elevated the 70s, even though the 70s we'll see a major decline in our community stability and us kind of having our own Black flight into other spaces. I still look at the 60s as the epitome of what we were doing in multiple different levels. But it's under consideration. So I'm excited to hear what brothers kind of flesh out with this and see what y'all.
I'm about to defend my 2000s, bro. Y'all doing because the thing is, bro, and the thing is, I had to look up. I'm like, damn, bro, is it the 60s? Because Chef's got a way of doing this argument while it'll mess you up. But hold on. So, all right, give me 3 minutes. So
yes, sir.
So we in 2000, 2010, some of this I can do from memory, some of it I can't. So I looked it up so to be more of an order type of thing. So we had in politics, we had the first Black U.S. Secretary of State. We had Condoleezza Rice, first Black woman Secretary of State. So you literally got running global and domestic politics a Black man and a Black woman, and then Obama was elected in 08. So as far as politics, we damn near
Colin Powell, Secretary of State?
No, Colin Powell was but he was the first Black U.S. Secretary of State under George Bush.
Yeah, you said Condoleezza
I mean,
Rice.
damn, no,
Right.
not Secretary of State. Secretary of Defense. She was the Secretary of State. He was the Secretary of Defense. No,
Okay.
wait.
I thought he was Secretary of State.
No, he was 2001 to 2005. Then Condoleezza Rice. That's
All
how
right.
I got it mixed up. Okay.
Okay.
So then Obama was elected in 08. Economics. It's the largest black middle class we've ever had. More black families than ever owned homes, held jobs, and sent kids to college. That's the boom. On top of that, remember the 2000 housing boom in 01. So from 01 to the recession, obviously, that was the largest time of us owning homes. It's the first time we've had 3, I think, Fortune 500 black CEOs: Parsons, Chenault, and I think the lady at Xerox. Forgot her name, but because I did this only says 3. It's Ursula something, but I'll look it up. Culture and entertainment, we just dominated that. That was Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye, Lil Wayne, Outkast. That was easy. Will Smith was the largest box office star. Denzel Washington and Halle Berry both won in 02. Then BET rose. Now I don't count BET. But anyway, Tiger Woods, that's his domination of golf. LeBron in basketball, Serena and Venus in tennis. And even in the NFL, we got Mike Vick and Donovan McNabb. So we were represented in sports. Education, HBCUs, Black Studies and African American history programs expanded during that time. Oprah's media empire. But once again, you got to deal with Katrina. But then I went to literary. Toni Morrison wrote Love, A Mercy, and Home in 2000. Now, she got her prize in 93, but those are big for me. Ta-Nehisi Coates started publishing his essays. Cornel West, Henry Louis Gates, and Bell Hooks. We got the final place from August Wilson. Denzel Washington revived Fences. The Root launched in 2008. And all this other stuff really doesn't matter. The Schomburg Center.
So when is Black Wall Street, and why wouldn't that be? Why
that's in the 40s, wasn't it? When Black Wall Street wasn't Tulsa in the 40s?
20s.
The 20s. Okay. So yeah, but
so like is
go ahead.
So yeah, so quick question, right? So wouldn't the argument of like the Black Wall Street success being maybe a little further detached from I guess government control or subsidies or what have you, right? Like is that important to y'all specifically, or is that like just a part of the question? If you don't value it, you just wouldn't.
No,
like, am I even saying that right?
No, you're saying it right. I value it, but in that same decade, that's 1921. So you remember you're coming off of, when was the Great Depression? Wasn't that 19? When the fuck was the Great Depression? Hold on. If I'm not mistaken,
I think it's like 30, starting like 34, 35 or something like that, and then lasting until like 43, 45.
Right, okay. So
I'm attempting to just like keep the conversation going. So like wouldn't
Black Wall Street,
wouldn't that trajectory, no, I'm saying like wouldn't that particular trajectory even kind of look a lot different than what you're describing when you say our 90s and how inclusive it was?
Well, my issue with Black Wall Street. So Black Wall Street is 21. Great Depression, Black Tuesday is 29. My only issue with saying that era was the best era for us is because you can't talk about Black Wall Street without talking about how they took it. And when you talk about Black Wall Street, you got to talk about Rosewood, you got to talk about Elaine, and you got to talk about East St. Louis. All places where, yes, we did have Black economic success, but it was taken and nobody's been to jail for it. It's not necessarily a good time, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
We had remember.
Now that I've established that,
go ahead.
I do have bigger point, right? So the two different trajectories to me would have a big deal with as far as like the outcome, right? Like so. I'm assuming, and I'm not implying this on Mujasi, right? But a lot of people make the argument about this whole um, how do we do it, without them, right? Like I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying like that particular part of the conversation, you would be surrendering all of that once you get past that. Am I wrong?
I don't understand what I don't understand what you're saying.
Right. So what I'm saying is if you like hypothetically, if Rosewood isn't burned down, right, our trajectory, like as far as our economic foothold in America would look a lot different, right? We might be able to have some
No,
generational wealth that we could have passed down.
no, it actually been worse because
Okay.
with Rosewood, with Elaine, with Tulsa, remember there was none of that was with federal backing. None of it. We didn't have any rights at the time. So, and remember too, those are just small areas of success. When we talking about success for Black folk, that wasn't representative at all of what was going on in the rest of the country. Those were just little pockets of places. That's why they were so easily taken, because remember, we're still in Jim Crow, so we couldn't vote for all intents and purposes. We didn't have there was no federal protection of anything. So anytime you're talking about finance and generational wealth, you don't have any finance or generational wealth or any guarantee of it until you get the rights. That's why I said I wouldn't consider any era before the civil rights movement, because any successes we had before that, we didn't have any civil rights. So you can't look at you can't look at that time with any kind of continuity, because it would be like saying you're walking out in the weather and you got a handful of ice and you'll be okay because it's 100-some degrees outside, but you got a handful of ice. But what's gonna happen to the ice is gonna melt. Like eventually, if it didn't happen then, it would have happened the next week or the next week. Everything was fragile at that time as far as any gains, because we didn't have any rights.
I don't think I know how to articulate it well, but and I know that you didn't do it on purpose, but that was like those efforts somewhere in there are minimized. Like in the I think
Or
like the
what?
greater goal are minimized. They're minimized a bit, right? You're almost like saying, well, it's good if they tried it, but it was futile anyway. Like that was never going to work.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Well, no. What I'm saying is we're having an overarching conversation about Black people. Tulsa and all of those were just small places in America where something happened. The overall time for us during that time, the 1920s, that was not a good time for us. That's like the vicious. Probably one of the more vicious times of Jim Crow. So yes,
No,
we had that.
so
Go ahead.
so for just for a moment, like right, just like entertain what I'm saying about the trajectory, right? Let's say if they were able to do that and they had 20, 30 years for them to put under their belt, rather than us having to kind of like pick up where we not necessarily where we left off, but literally reroute, uproot and go in a totally different direction and go to the pole box, right? Whereas we had something already on the ground going, and it was removed. So you're saying like that trajectory, as far as like us having an economic foothold in America, is like it was stopped for whatever particular reason. So if I'm not like saying that was a good goal for African Americans, right? Like that would have to be a bad goal for us to not, or to like go past it and then to move to an entirely different paradigm of not being, I guess, so financially independent. I'm trying to find a better way to say that, but.
Well, you're not financially independent if you don't have civil rights and you live in the United States of America, you're not financially independent. You understand what I'm saying? Like for it's almost like I'm not trying to minimize the potential of Tulsa. I'm not trying to minimize it. Because the one thing it did was it did show by it being turned by it like in the same sense of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X being murdered, and saying that there was a positive in that they were so profound and so prolific that they had to be assassinated. The simple fact, it disproved a simple rule that we couldn't build anything. So, I mean, I would never minimize it because that showed, look at what we can do unfettered. Look at that. But I can't push it out only but so far because of Jim Crow. If you can't vote, if you have no representation in the courts, if you have no police protection at all, then at some point, like if you what do Sad Breeze say all the time? Building a house on sand.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to hold it.
There'd be no.
You can't eat the gains that you gained is on sand. You know what I mean? Any political realm or upheaval could take that away from you. So it wasn't something that could be substantiated because of the legal system at that time.
Right. So I summarized that and said that it's good that they tried, but the efforts would have been futile ultimately.
Yeah.
And he disagreed. So yeah, I did summarize.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's futile. I'm just saying it's just an example. I look at Tulsa and Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Elaine, Rose. I look at all of those as things of examples that we could build something. And to be quite honest, at the time, one of the biggest racist tropes is that we couldn't build anything. So we just dumped that racist trope out. But I will say this might be a little controversial, but I'm not going to say I'm glad that it happened that way, but I'm glad that we didn't continue with just economic advancement and no rights. Because economic advancement without the civil rights is the reverse of what they felt after they did the civil rights. It's the same thing. Well, after we got the civil rights, you could tell almost immediately in the shift in Martin Luther King's tone in his speeches, you could tell almost immediately that he realized, well, shit, we ain't got no economics with this. Mm-hmm. And he immediately switched to like, all right, now let's go get the money. So one without the other, that's one of the things that we've always kind of struggled with, is having them both, the civil rights and the economic justice at the same time. We rarely have had it at the same time. Even now, and that's why we talk about the systemic racism. Yeah, y'all go out and buy houses, but you can only live in these neighborhoods. Yeah, y'all go out and buy houses, but we're gonna deny you 3 times the rate and make your paperwork seem like you trying to join the FBI versus buy a house. We never really
supporting out that particular decade, the Black Wall Street decade, like that. That's what the continuation of that would have looked like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Worse. So like, you would have just gotten worse if you weren't fighting for your right.
You'd have walked into a realtor and they just said, just get the fuck out.
Yeah. So I mean,
all this newfound wealth and all this newfound money, and then they told you get the fuck out. And then on top of that, remember, anything in finance needs court representation. Anything that you're trying to do wealth-wise, generationally, you're gonna find yourself mainly, and I find myself mainly in courthouses more than anything else. And if I can't have access to something that can protect my shit, you're just freestyling. It's like everybody got a gun but you. So, I can celebrate it, Logic, don't get me wrong, but I'm also not surprised by Black Wall Street because we've always been able to build when given the chance. when given freedom and we've always been able to build, but somebody during that time, and the funny thing is, Logic, it would have been you if you grew up during that time. You would have been sitting around with the money on Black Wall Street, this, that, and the other, and something would have clicked in your head, because I know you. And what happens if they come to try to take all this shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of wearing your most expensive jewelry in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, by celebrating that decade. It's like, yeah, like you got all that shit, but it's like, nigga, at any moment, someone could snatch all that shit from you. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
First of all, the question is amazing, right? It's not something. It's already subjective, and it's already would have to include so much of what's going on at the time. It's an amazing question, first of all. So my angle, right, is of course I have to deal with the uncomfortable truth of African Americans being attached to the predicaments of America. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't unwind us from how successful or how unsuccessful America is. That's the reality, right? So when you take that into consideration, and I'm trying to include, okay, so what were African Americans trying to accomplish? And this could be me convoluting something, but I could have sworn it was about to becoming less reliant on those other particular things, right? So when we fast forward, we would be kind of almost considering ourselves more reliant. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, but I would see it as not necessarily the direction it sounded like they were intended on going. If you get what I'm saying, so that's more of how I'm judging what you're saying, but I don't disagree with anything that you say.
Yeah, and well, I mean, during that time, remember, and this is why the one of the things Black people, this is why I do agree with when we have these conversations. Now we have more successful Black people. It ain't just little pockets here and there. You can pretty much look everywhere and you'll find some successful Black people in the United States. But during that time, you had a few pockets where we were doing things without civil rights. But you got to remember, man, that's what I mean by Jim Crow. That's the height of lynching. That's the height of Jim Crow, height of segregation, height of sharecropping. Pretty much everybody else in that area, that's sharecropping. So they're in debt. So we can look at like the few areas where they built, but I just can't get past. I can look at the historical importance and the cultural importance of maybe that was the thing that made us realize, because you could see the narrative begin to shift after that. We still had a few, the next decade was particularly bloody too, but we began to switch, because then also you got to remember that's also them coming back from the World War. So that's the Black backlash they got with that summer, the Red Riots or whatever. It was just a very tough time for all Black people. And then add in Tulsa and all of them. I don't know. I don't think I could point to. I don't think Tulsa and Elaine and Rose. I don't think all of those are. They're looked at as how you look at it, as a trajectory. But when they describe those things, Logic, they describe those as race massacres. It's not really described as like almost a positive part. Is described as, they killed a lot of Black folk for that. They compare that to Rosewood and them.
And here's the other part about it, right? I mean, we're thinking about it from a 2025 perspective, where niggas got the internet, and you know about a Tulsa, Oklahoma, or about a Black Wall Street, or this, that, and the other. I mean, the problem with trying to go to that decade is, the best for us is like, if you weren't in those parts, you weren't benefiting from none of that shit. You didn't know none of it was going on, and so it was just fucked up. You know what I'm saying, Logic?
Yeah, you do got the Great Migration, Smalls, during that time.
Right.
You do got the black.
Yeah.
You do got blacks fleeing the South, but for the most part, you know.
Nah, yeah, I don't believe in the argument that I just put forth. I literally was trying to keep the conversation going, and I said I didn't believe that. Like that, what I was saying, like I was definitely trying to get y'all to just hash it out because I thought it'd be an interesting point.
Yeah, no,
I didn't like. Yeah, that wasn't my point, but I thought that was.
But here's the thing.
It was a good
I didn't know how to
make.
answer the question. I don't have enough historical context.
Everybody's decade is going to be problematic.
I mean, I could have guessed, but to elaborate, I would have felt being disingenuous.
Well, no, but if you just guessing, you and Smalls just guessing, what would be y'all 10-year period? I said mine, 2000, 2010.
Well, I mean, based on what y'all said, I'm definitely going to
the 90s.
I'm leaning definitely towards economics, so it's got to be where we was booming economically.
2000, 2010, largest black middle class in history, largest homeowning in history.
And I would just go back 10 years before that.
You said 90?
Brass. No, the 90s. So in other words, 90s till 2000. So in other words,
1990 to the year 2000. So Clinton.
Yeah. And the reason why is because of the advancements with the cultural boom. You know what I mean? Like we ruled pop culture during those years, and it kind of gave way to and I know pop culture is like a kind of a weak thing, but that wasn't the only thing that we made advancements in. But goddamn, we talking about the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, and motherfucking the music and this, that, and the other.
But how could you watch the Cosby Show after the crackhead stole your motherfucking TV? That's the crack. That's the middle of. Remember, crack epidemic is 80 to like 97.
Yeah, you got me. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's joint's gonna be problematic though, Brass. Because I guarantee you, if I thought long and hard enough about if I thought about it enough, see, I'm learning. If I thought about it enough, I could probably find problems with I actually really can't think of it yet. Now that I think about it,
I can think of two reasons.
So, as a matter of fact, I might have to go. I think I have to go with yours. I think 2000 is actually a much better thing.
The only thing I found wrong with mine was Hurricane Katrina, but I could find the 94 crime bill in the crack era
and the crack,
Ain't no way.
And the gang shit. I thought you were gonna bring up the gang shit.
I ain't from the West Coast. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. And then also, you gotta remember, I was like 8, so I don't.
Well, nigga, it wasn't just the West Coast. Nigga, they were banging in Little Rock. There was a whole documentary on that.
I did see that on HBO. I did see that on HBO later. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So it's
You know what's funny? Did Mujasi, did he ever say the one he picked?
I think he said did he?
No, he said one of the elders said the 40s and the 50s, but he didn't say his.
What wouldn't he say in the 60s? What did that?
Was he saying what Chef? I think he was saying what Chef was saying.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Oh, go back to it, Mujasi.
Yeah, so during that radio show kind of podcast, I leaned toward the 60s.
Yeah.
And so, and the conversation that we had for an hour and a half is exactly what we're doing right now, where we had to consider so much because the original topic was going to be what was the best generation. And I pushed back on it. The host pushed back. Everybody was like, okay, we don't have to do generations because it'd be biased.
Host
to be very biased. Yeah, the best generation of black folks.
Mid-host.
So yeah, the host. Yeah.
Oh, the host.
Not mid-host. Not host. Host. The host of the radio. I'm sorry. I can't always pronounce my words correctly.
No. I apologize. I thought you said we was on the radio show and the hose pushed back. I'm like, is this with Josh?
Man, she ain't worth a damn.
No,
she ain't worth a
I
damn.
was like,
She
oh
was
my God.
cooking.
I said, is this
I'm
with Josh?
sorry.
Yeah, brother.
I'm sorry, brothers. I can't always pronounce my words right.
No, just disrespect that I think that highly of you that I had to make sure that you just the hose. I'm like, damn, what y'all do to the hose after that?
Likewise, my brothers.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
And so I was leaning when I showed up to the show. I was leaning towards the '60s because I looked up, did some research, pulled up some stuff, articles, books, and I'm like, yeah, it used to be the '60s. And when we finally got, just like we're doing right now, we got into the really the nuances and the considerations and the events, the social events. I had to reconsider. And so when I walked away from the station that day, I'm like, I don't know if I can lean on the '60s like I thought I could. Like there's a lot to consider. And initially, when I first kind of thought about that question a while ago, I did lean towards the 20s because of Oklahoma and Wilmington, Rosewood, and some of these other high economic places that we were starting to get going. But then, I had to consider like, wow, this was the height of segregation, Black tyranny in the South and the North. While we had de facto segregation in the South, we had de jure segregation in the North. And there was a lot of disenfranchisement. From what I remember looking up, based off of what Brian Stevenson has in the Legacy Center down in Alabama, a Black person was getting lynched every 28 hours during the decade of 1900 to 1930s, every 28 hours. Now, that's what is reported. And I don't know how we can verify that outside of their sources and what they did for their research team for the couple of years that they put that together. But that's critically important to consider when you talk about the height of a decade of a people who was making progressive strides into this American fabric. And one of the things that Logic is elevating came up in the conversation is like, when we look at the unexpected benefits of what segregation provided in terms of somewhat of an autonomy, because it wasn't entirely autonomous. Segregation, especially in the South, still allowed county principalities to economically benefit off of segregation because of how they disproportionately allocated resources to white communities versus Black communities. Blah, 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 blah. Brass could go down to politics on that real deeply, but it forced Black folks to really think independently, to engineer their own stuff, to organize their stuff, to really support their stuff, and to really have pride and dignity. And one of the things that a recent author, my wife gave me this quote from this author. I think her name is like Glendon Brooks or something like that. I could be wrong. I'll get it for y'all and post it in the chat. She said that white people during this era didn't mind that Black folks had economics or politics. But one of the things that was, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of false in some respects, but one of the things that white ideas and white-mindedness could not deal with after the success of Jack Johnson beating down that boxer, they couldn't deal with Black people having pride, Black people having dignity. And so behind a lot of the lynchings, behind a lot of the violent terrors, behind a lot of the atrocities that we experienced in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, centered around white folks having complete fear and anger and frustration with Black people having pride and dignity. And you think about that in terms of our soldiers coming back from the war. You think about that in terms of the business owners who established a business and was successful for a number of years. You think about in terms of the amount of Black folks that coagulated around family reunions and family get-togethers. You think about in terms of Black folks being able to have a plot of land and producing something that's separate from a sharecropping contract. Black dignity and pride was a threat to white superiority. And so I had to learn and reconsider that in terms of like, man, when we look at the decade and what warrants so much of the violence and what perpetuated a lot of the violence, I couldn't even lean towards the 20s and the 30s to be able to say that, because it was an era of so much attack on the social reality of Black life. And so that's why I lean towards the 60s and tried to make an argument that I believe, and I argue, that the 60s had a little bit of everything that we were dignified with, that we were prideful of, that we accomplished, that we achieved. And it had, and this is one thing I hope that Corey hears this piece, Corey's gone, is that it had a deeper relationship between the middle class, upper class, and conversations with the working class poor as well too. And I'll land there.
Okay, you can land. I'm about to attack the 60s, but go ahead.
Wait. Before you do, Brass, I just wanted to ask one question. What if we were to roll that up, right? And we get out of, so we go post civil rights era and we go to the 70s. Had you considered that, Mujasi? Like, because we accomplished a lot of shit in the 70s. You know, there was kind of a mix of both political accomplishments, and some of the, I was about to say, and some of the popular cultural sort of accomplishments too. It's like that. It now that I'm thinking about it, as soon as you mentioned it, I'm really thinking about this. The 70s kind of wrapped it all up, and then you can get past the.
But then you got. But then you got. Okay, so now you that's when you politics. That's a good time for politics too. Right after the civil rights movement,
right?
You get explosion of mayors, explosion of governors, Black people in politics too. But then remember that's affirmative action too. So affirmative action, you got us going to school a lot more. You got middle class. But the only challenge you're gonna have with the 70s, and this is I don't know if this hit y'all, but it hit the Midwest specifically. That's the deindustrialization era. That's the beginning.
Yeah.
Where that's when the factories began to close. Unemployment is crazy. And I hate to say this, I have a hard time saying any decade was good for Black people when you got Nixon and Reagan.
Yeah. I was hoping nobody would catch that.
I break these down by presidents. That's the easiest way for me to do it. And if you got Nixon and Reagan, I
was hoping nobody would catch that.
I don't know. You caught it. You can. I don't know, because remember, even though we were represented more politically, unemployment and crime was insane. And then once they started deindustrializing, specifically the Black neighborhoods, that began. Because see, remember
Detroit and Cleveland.
But that was the whole economic issue. We got the rights, but we don't have the economics. And then that's when I wouldn't go 70s, because then also 70s was that was heroin and dope. That wasn't cocaine and crack yet, but that's a heavy heroin era. So
you see how with any decade, I think we're gonna, once we go into the nuances, I think we're gonna find issues with any decade. You will. Yeah,
that's what makes it a good polarizing conversation.
It's a great conversation. Yeah, but now that I really think about it,
I like best generation.
I don't know. 2000 to 2010, Brad. You might.
It's not an easy question. Definitely not.
But I think generations, to do a part 2 to this, we could start it off with this part, but I think I'd like to finish the conversation with generations. What was the best Black generation starting from 1900 to 2025? You know, when you get into baby boomers and Generation X and Generation this, which one of them would the best, whatever? But hold on, let me attack the 60s, unless Logic, you want to say something real quick. Because I ain't never
so real quick, I wanted to ask you, Jossie, this question, right? Do you have a definitive point on whether African Americans were better off before or after segregation?
I don't because I've heard and read mixed kind of sentiments and arguments around that. That's why I tend to say unexpected benefits, because and some of those benefits wasn't experienced by all levels, socioeconomic levels of Black folks. One of the things that we can tout is that we had more ownership, within segregation. We had more commitment to ourselves. Even if we complained and griped about some of the services that we got, we had more commitment to patronize those because oftentimes we didn't have no choice. But it's one of those pieces that I don't favor one more than the other. One of the things I do highlight and elevate is that I do believe that we should always find a way to develop. Sorry, my phone was clicking. We should always find a way to develop ownership of our stuff, have complete operation coordination, and a commitment between Black businesses and community to Black businesses. And so if there's pieces that I can elevate around segregation that provided that experience for us in different coagulations of cities and communities, I really want to elevate that piece. I really want to champion.
Right, and that's what I'm kind of detecting.
Yeah,
a little bit in the conversation, right? Because if you have those values, then you would have to maintain some of those goals, right? Of that independence, right? And then I don't know exactly where the cutoff line would be, but at some point we basically dive all the way into giving that up, right? So that would have to be in complete opposition to whatever potential gains or whatever gains that we would have had previous to that, right? Because we gave up that whole paradigm as far as being independent for the most part. You get what I'm saying? So like that's the part of the conversation I don't think that we can have, because at least I don't know if I can. I have I kind of unfortunately feel like we're better off after segregation. I have heard people make good arguments about we were better before segregation, but that seems to be like an underlying question within this too, about which one of these you actually value. I don't know if anybody else kind of picked up on that, but that's kind of how I'm seeing the conversation unfold, is that you would have to relinquish a lot of the goals that were, that would have been set in motion back there in Rosewood and what's it called, in Black Wall Street.
We set up institutions during that time. We okay. First off, we weren't better under segregation.
What
we did under segregation, though, and hopefully this will make it kind of plain. We did have like systems under segregation, like Rosewood, this, that, and the other, even without the rights. Rosewood, Tulsa, Elaine, a bunch of different things. We set up parallel economies, basically, right? It's set parallel institutions and parallel systems, right? But the without the rights, I already said that. But under segregation, we had those. So we had the appearance of it being good. The only reason after segregation would be problematic is because, yes, we got the rights, but we then didn't set up those same parallel institutions and economies. So that's why you don't see the same, like, that's how we say trajectory. One of the things John Hope Bryant always says is that yes, you could celebrate Tulsa, you could celebrate Black Wall Street during that time, but we did that as kind of like a forced thing under segregation. We had to. But then when we got all of the rights, we didn't make those parallel things because we could not use theirs. It's the bus analogy I always make. When we were fighting to get in the front of their buses, we already had fucking buses. When we were fighting to get onto their life insurance plans, we already had our own life insurance system. Once we had the right,
we got the right, all that shit went away.
The life insurance plans, just the right to get the shit killed all the parallel shit that we were doing, and then nobody ever picked the mantle back up. So we didn't have our own parallel things to post segregation. So you can.
So that's where that one saying come from, then, Brad. Huh? I always wonder where that came from, right? But that's where the saying come from. The white folks' ice is colder than the black folks' ice.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because I was wondering.
We already had bus companies. We were just trying to get the right to ride their buses. But the way it should have done, and I'm not, in hindsight, I'm too young to tell them what they should have did or shouldn't do. But we should have expanded during that time our own bus companies and fought to ride their buses. But as soon as we started riding their buses, our shit died off, or it got looked at.
What we should have been doing, I'm gonna tell you what we should have did that nobody never say, Brad. Nobody never says it, Brad. What we should have been doing was trying to entice them white folk to get on the black folk bus.
I agree.
See what I'm saying? That's what we should have been doing. Like you niggas come over here and spend y'all money over here because the black folks bus ride is a lot smoother than the white folks bus ride, right? We should have been telling them that our ice is colder than the white folks' ice, right? So that's what we should have been doing, Brad, right? Enticing them white folks to come spend their money with us.
I agree.
Not trying to have our own thing separate, right? But trying to entice them motherfuckers to bring some of that wealth, and then we price gouge the fuck out of them. Is what we should have done. We should start price gouging them. Once we got them into our clutches, right? Once we got them believing that our ice is colder than their ice, our root beer floats is a lot floatier than the white folks' root beer floats, right? Once we got them thinking that, because it's easy to get a motherfucker to think that, right? It's all in marketing, right? Once we got them to thinking that, we should have price gouged them motherfuckers out of town, down to the train. That's what we should have did. We should have price gouged them motherfuckers all the way back to the goddamn trailer park. That's what we should have did. Because that's what they do to us. But go ahead.
Yeah, but that's a lot of times, and I just now in Logic explaining it the last time, I'm just now getting what Logic was trying to get at the whole time. Like, if we had these successful systems, the trajectory of having those successful systems, that actually would have been the best time because we showed examples of it, and it was successful. But where it fell off we just didn't do it. Once we got segregated and we started drinking the white man's ice, riding the white man's bus, using the white man's, because you can always look up A.G. Gaston when it comes to he's a black insurance titan. I think his book is called Titan. Something Titan. And it explains we had our own life insurance system. Motherfucker would knock on your door, you pay a couple quarters. A couple quarters here, a couple dollars here, da-da-da-da-da. Everybody was buried. There was a little bit of money left over. And here's the thing. You knew when you gave that quarter that you might be paying for somebody else's thing, right? And it might have been around the time that, that was that time of that. But it's always, once we start doing the white people thing, we've always stopped doing our own thing.
Right. So that's because I'd come off of mute because that shit sounded wild to me but it's not the first time I've heard it. Like we were better under segregation. So that's a way to explain it. I get it.
Guys, them separatists gonna take that argument and they gonna run off with that though, right? You already know that, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, but Corey, you gotta have the right with it too, though. You I don't
have no problem with it because, things ain't mutually exclusive, right? You know what I'm saying? It's fine that we probably made some mistakes and we might have been better off, right? I don't think in the long run. I think in the long run, the integration is more beneficial, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just my belief. Now somebody can show me something and I could change that belief. I'm one that will change when shown some good information, right? But I do think, because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we all have to be Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it on a global scale, right? We have to be American, right? So we have to be working towards a common goal. We can't necessarily have these two entities, I guess, living within one landmass, because once you got that kind of separation, you know, then the divide and conquer is able to creep its way in. You know what I'm saying?
Separate but equal does not work on the world stage. It just doesn't.
No, I don't believe so. I don't. Now again, I'm waiting. Somebody can come in here and show me totally different, right? But as a belief of mine, right? This is just my belief, right? I don't believe that works in today's world. Not in today's world.
No, I think I'm looking. I just asked ChatGPT to pull up some examples, but it's like what Logic said without saying it. In all actuality, what really would have worked was the same forced institutions and economies and concepts that we had under segregation, the things that we were forced to do. But with the civil rights to keep them. That's the best plan to me. Is that
we didn't do that though.
It don't got to be. Yeah, it's not separate per se, but
I lost signal, Brad. I lost signal.
So when is the closest we've ever come to it? Then, Smalls.
He didn't hear what I said. No, he didn't.
I didn't get a chance to hear you, Brad, because I went out. I think my signal.
What I'm saying is, and then we go to Logic. What I'm saying is the things that we had to do, the industries, the institutions that we had to set up, parallel that we were forced to do under segregation. If we would have kept those same institutions, that same mindset, but kept that mindset post segregation. So basically, still our own bus companies, our own banks, our own this, our own that. But post segregation, without being forced to do it, then that to me, that's the best form of integration. But if integration means I got to start drinking your ice, using your banks, using your buses, and now I can't even use my own shit. I can't even build because people think generational wealth is there's a certain thing called generational wealth of all Black people. Like, you start looking at the systems that we all use that will all benefit us. You know what I mean? So if the Black dollar, as soon as we get it, it just leaves the community, then no. So the integration is cool. I would say I'll take integration, but with a segregationist mindset. That the segregationist mindset that they had us in, where no, we got to do it like this, but do it while having the rights. That's just
I know what you said. I know what that kind of looks like. What that looks like, Brass, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? In the real world, what that would look like is basically having your neighborhood. So you have things called certain things like Black neighborhoods, right? We can all say, like, even though we're not segregated or whatever, we can still point to a Black neighborhood. So what Brass is talking about and what that would look like is, in that Black neighborhood, you would have a Black bank, you would have a Black grocery store, you would have Black. Now, do white people live there too? Yes. White people live there, they go to school there, they bank there, and all that. But motherfuckers who's in control of it is Black folks.
It's Black folks.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Exactly. And the thing is, other races will patronize those businesses, though. Corey,
we do it better.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
We do it better. We do it cheaper.
That's right.
And
sometimes it's just a cultural thing. Right?
It might just be geographic, right? It might be just that the white folks just live in a neighborhood across way, but it's walking distance to the grocery store. You see what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is this though, Corey. I go to La Tapatia because there's certain things at La Tapatia that they don't sell at motherfucking Safeway. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
You know what I mean?
No, but the
There's
reason
certain
why I'm saying
things
better
that they
though,
don't do.
but
And,
I'm saying
go ahead.
in our case, the reason why I'm saying
I
better
think
though
better too. I
is
don't
because
disagree with that.
you could probably get out here, you can get a bacon, egg, and cheese anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure if we got hold to it, the way we did it
Yeah.
would make everybody want to come to where we was at. You gotta
Right.
like we're so imitated. Black people, not just black people in their culture, but black people and their skills. All the things that you think you love, that you think are white, are black. Just taken. My wife told me the other day. I just had to learn this shit. So, Corey, you'd be so disappointed in me. So, I love fried chicken. I'm like, you know, it is what it is. If that makes me a nigga's nigga, then that is what it is. I just think it tastes good.
I tell my wife if she cooked it every day, she wouldn't hear a complaint out of me. But go ahead.
Say that again.
But out here, there's been this boon of Korean fried chicken. And I gotta say, y'all can be mad. It's the best fried chicken I've ever had. It's the crispiest, juiciest, best chicken, whatever, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, damn, how did the Koreans fucking take over fried chicken? Like, what's going on? And my wife had to educate me that this is motherfucking the soldiers taught them how to do this shit when they was over there. And what'd you say? They taught the Viet Cong soldiers how to make fried chicken. These motherfuckers turned it into an industry, and now they over here selling it, and the shit tastes better than the shit we make at the soul food restaurant. So what I'm saying is that's just an example of.
But they learned it from the real niggas.
Exactly.
Right.
Fried chicken is huge in Asia.
It's not Keisha,
If y'all,
right? But go ahead.
Yeah, fried chicken is huge in Asia. They eat it on for like Christmas dinner and all kind. Like, yeah, it's huge. Like, so we're tripping, but the actual fried chicken, I think it actually come from the Irish. I think we got it from the Irish living next to them down south. Yeah.
Man, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But wait, okay.
But here's the thing though. Like out here where I'm from though, right? If you want to talk about people looking at certain cultures and taking advantage, you know, whether right or wrong, out here where I'm from, you're not getting black hair care products from black people. That does not exist. You're getting it from Asians.
Oh yeah, from out here too though. No, out here too.
Okay, so that's out there too. Okay, I understand. Yeah, so like
products aren't even black. That's the funny thing. It's black people.
That's what I was getting to.
It's black people on the wrapper. It's black people. It's a black
right. Where was that shit made at though?
Like red, black, and green, but it is not coming from a black person. Trust me.
This shit with the motherfuckers made in China, and so all they did was capitalize off this shit. You know what I'm saying?
So hold up, right? So this is where we was at, right? So we was kind of kicking around about the right. Brad said he acknowledged that the possibility of that autonomy, right, that we could have got from that. We wouldn't have got it without the rights. I get what he's saying there, right? But since then, since we lost all those businesses and the insurance and all that kind of stuff, we have gotten further and further and further away from that possibility, right? Like that, like we've now almost doubled down on the integrated society and the integrated mindset at this point. You know what I'm saying? So in order to acknowledge. So this is what I'm saying. This is two things happening, right? So yes, we are economically better off today. We can participate economically in ways that we, like in large numbers, the way we haven't been able to ever. But that the possibility of autonomy is much further away because we're far more integrated into it. So which is the particular goal in. Is it to just be to just be a member of society, or is it to kind of be, to attempt to have this autonomy to where you can?
Well, Logic, even with that autonomy, you'd still only be a member, though. Like you're not going to take over the United States.
No, I'm not going to say.
Open
I'm
up
not going to say not a
He's
member.
not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Well, then, the only other thing would be for us to fix what we haven't focused on, and that wouldn't be hard to do.
We gotta.
Not get what I'm saying. It's the autonomy part, right? So like it depends on which one is your goal.
That's an easy
so
fix,
we're
though.
further away from autonomy now. Easy. Explain easy fix.
Because, for example, I could go to a soul food restaurant within a few feet of where I live, right? The problem is, there's just not enough of it, though. And it stops at the restaurant. I just told you can't get black hair care products from a black-owned store. There's plenty of things that we could be doing.
I'm not talking about being a consumer. I'm talking about ownership.
No. That's what I'm referring to, Brass. In other words, there's plenty of, to me, from what I know, there's plenty of money for us to start those. It seems like the only thing we do is open up a goddamn soul food restaurant. Like we don't get into like, hey, let me, let's get to a black owned. Like there are Chinese banks in the Bay Area. There are Mexican owned banks in the Bay. Like we ain't doing none of that shit.
But this goes to the we. Yeah. We're not, I don't want to talk about individual people or individual stores. I want to talk about the we, the chef and them be talking about all the time. What we lack right now is the national system. We don't, and in order for a national system to benefit, there has to be a we. And that's why Chef pointed to the 60s, because when you point to the 60s, the 60s gave us the we. We all were tied in, whether it was symbolic or not. It was, I'm black and I'm proud, the afros, the dress, the this, that, and the other. But
no, it was a clear we at that.
Right, it was a
clear we.
Right now, what we don't have is we don't have the we to make the national system. No, even if you did a black bank, you're not doing it for everybody. You're doing it for you. If you do there, and if you do open a black bank or you do open a black school, you're benefiting a much smaller group than a national system. You got to understand, like, there's a difference between the national systems and institutions. That's why when I talk about this, what we didn't do was we fought for integration, but we didn't protect our economic base. Our base has to have a foundation of something that benefits everyone. And there is no one thing that we have. Like, we don't have the industry, we don't have the media. Now, here's the thing, Logic. We created it. We created it with hip hop. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. If we could have just controlled, and I'm talking about just controlled, if we could have created hip hop and just controlled it and kept it as a black base for business, that's trillions of dollars into the black community. Trillions of dollars. So now you're talking about a situation of, imagine us owning all of hip hop and everything that came from it. The clothing, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all of the things that came from hip hop. Imagine controlling those things and keeping it as an economic base. All of the food that came from it, the clothing, the Sean John, the Rockaway, all of that. And then you got to remember, we lost that immediately because who came into it? Lyor Cohen, Clive Davis, all the other races, and they took it and added it to their economic base. So we didn't own. We just don't own anything that helps all of us. We don't own anything.
Well, how do you stop that from happening, though, Brad? Or how do you reverse it? Though?
And not to mention your chances of it happening go up in the integrated society.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna make sound cringy a little bit, and it might not, especially like to people like Chief X, is not gonna sound good at all, right? But the main problem, what would help Black people out the most, the more than anything than the shit we name, right? All of the unity and the businesses and the banks and everything we name, house, everything, right? What would help Black people more than all of that is if white folks quit being so goddamn dumb. The problem why America and Black folks is in the position that they in is because of the ignorance of white folks. Particularly white men. Like, if
you're gonna have to elaborate a little bit on that.
I'm gonna elaborate. I'm gonna elaborate, right? Because all of this, most of the situations, most of the economic disparity, whether you're talking about Black or white, let's erase Black and white, right? We're gonna come to the class right here, right? When you look at the disparities, right? The disparities in the economics is because white folks are so ignorant and so biased, they can't see past it, right? So they do everything against their own interests based on their ignorance. You see what I'm saying? It's as long as they feel like being white is something, right? Being white is some type of trophy or something like that. As long as they feel like that, there's always gonna be a disparaging economic gap. And
I think I know where you're going.
The economic gap contributes to all of the other ailments. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, y'all always hear me say things like, man, the trailer park needs to go down to the projects and have a barbecue, right?
Right.
Because once that happens, shit'll start to be clearer and clearer, and they won't be basing things off of pure ignorance. You know what I'm saying? And
it's more of a they cut off their nose despite their face sort of
absolutely
thing, right?
Basically that's the kind of shit they do. And like I said, once you get white folks to stop being dumb as fuck like that the cut your nose to spite your face, right? That's dumb shit. That's dumb wild shit, right? Once white folks quit doing that, the rest of the fucking America, the rest of the United States will be better off. I'm not saying it'll end all the problems, but everybody, especially Black folks, would be better off. But go ahead.
Yeah, like in other words, like if project niggas knew how much they had in common with motherfuckers in the trailer park, then I think
it's easier to convince the project niggas, right? It's the It's the trailer trash that don't realize that they have.
Hey Corey, I swear to God, I'm gonna tell you. I think But here's the problem you're gonna run into, Corey. You're gonna run into a problem
on first down, and ain't nobody gonna do that.
Not realizing, you white, but you just as broke and in a fucked up position as me. But try to convince a trailer park motherfucker they not white. They don't forget, bro. Some of them are just as racist as anybody else. Yeah, they're just as racist as anybody else. They don't even realize.
And to some degree, they actually do have an advantage. And ain't nobody, I ain't never seen nobody punt the ball on first down just so you could have a chance. I ain't never seen it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know what they're gonna say?
Punting the ball.
Damn, ain't nobody punted the ball on first down just so you can get a chance. I am adding that into my repertoire.
Yeah, that was a bar.
I'm just letting you know, like that's what it would seem like, right? And that's what those thought process would actually be the discouraging thing, right? punting the ball for you can score a touchdown or whatever, however you put that, right? Which I like that. But what I'm saying is, it wouldn't even actually be that though. That's I feel you. Maybe that's how he would look at it, like some white trailer guy would look at it, right? But he wouldn't be realizing that he'd be winning. He'd be putting himself ahead, right?
Right.
He wouldn't actually. He would actually realize that he not punting. We all on the same team.
They both come from marginalized communities.
Yeah, we all on the same.
They're both being exploited by the same. Hold on. They're both being exploited by the same system. So Corey is not the first person to make this argument. The Black Panthers made that argument. That's why the Black Panthers screamed power to the people. They was talking about the proliferous society. If you read anything about the Black Panthers, they were connecting the working class. They was trying to connect with the working class whites, right? The Latinos, right? All of these groups together. He said, yo, they were saying, yo, we're all being taken advantage of by the same system. That's why they said power to the people. They were saying down with the man. They was talking about the system was against the proliferous society. Go read that shit. They wasn't now they were pro-black because they came from the black community. Right, but they tried to align with other social grassroots programs that was rooted in white society that recognized the disadvantages of the working class and how they was all being taken advantage of. So you're absolutely you're absolutely right. You're not the first person to say that. It's more of a class thing than a racial thing. But as long as the racists think that is a racial thing, then the exploiter gets the exploiter gets to take advantage of both of them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because that's the problem, though, Chef. Just to Corey's point, at the end of the day, that trailer park person is gonna say, "Well, at least I ain't you."
But not
at
least they stupid.
Yeah,
and that's Corey's point, right? That's what I'm saying. They don't understand, right?
Point. Not all of them is gonna say that. Not all of them is gonna say that.
Nobody wants to hear that we have to educate white folks.
Nobody
want to hear me say that.
Show them. Come on. I agree with that. If we showed them, like, bro, look, you shop at the same grocery store I shop at.
Right.
You run the same tab that I shop at. Actually, a cop will treat your ass the same way he'll treat me.
Yep.
You can't go get a job the same, because you know where you see that at, Corey? In the South and in the Midwest specifically. I don't know about other areas, but in the South and the Midwest specifically, we got some country white kids that we grew up with that they don't even know they white, bro.
And that's why they be mad about niggas saying,
bro, didn't we just go over yesterday that there was a study?
Go ahead. I was gonna say that's
that if your name was in. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I ain't gonna forget.
I'm just was commenting on what Brass was saying. This is why white folks get upset, and especially the ones that I know.
When you say they got an advantage.
Yeah, that white privilege shit, they be ready to fight behind that because they do the same shit we did. It's just what Brad said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They with the same shit. But you know where I can prove what I said is right.
You're right. When you tell a white person that they got an advantage, they looking at you like, well, motherfucker, I'm struggling. Motherfucker, ain't nobody gave me shit.
Right.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
My paycheck.
When you come and tell black people that it's equal, we raise hell too.
Y'all about to get cussed out by Logic, by the way.
We raise hell too.
But I saw the most of that though, Logic, when I came to California.
Yesterday we made a whole argument around there was a study done on if your name was Greg or Emily that you was, I don't know, 95%
you had a
more
high
likely
chance of getting called back for a job.
Right. So the advantages actually are real, whether these particular people are aware of it or how to use it or whatnot, right? So So right. So regardless of what them people in the trailer parks is doing, like there actually is an advantage out there that you would be asking those same people to give
But
up.
they can't see it. But Logic, they can't personally see it though. Real quick, Corey. Them people personally can't see it though, because when they go to cookouts, they eating with us. They see us in the grocery store. We're still helping them, this, that, and the other. And most of their family that ain't in that situation done ostracized them as if they've been treated as if they're almost not white. Mm-hmm. And the people that's showing them love is us. We sharing food, we drinking together, partying together. I'm telling you, it's some white people in the Midwest and down south, bro. They the blackest people in the room.
They don't fuck with white folks.
At least they don't even fuck with white. Yeah. That's an even better point. They don't even like fucking with white. Hold on. Let Corey.
Like you said,
I cut Corey off. Let Corey do the shit. Go ahead, Logic. But
let Corey show y'all where it turns to reality, and this is why I scream and share the things that I share and scream the things that I scream. Right? Is because in the unions, right? At least in my trade, bro, right? Them white boys know that we fighting against the same thing. Those are the white boys that I work with, they actually know what I'm talking about. They actually know what the Black Panthers was talking about. That's why it's important to unionize, right? Because you can you sneak education in. See, those white boys is educated on what was going on in the Taft-Hartley Act and shit, what the right to work shit do and all of that kind of shit, the union busting and all that wild shit, right? They know what we all up against. You see what I'm saying? So
say that, but they just voted for Trump.
No, well,
not all of them.
Not the guys in my unions understand they don't vote for union busters, right? So that's all they looking for is whether how do you support unions or not? You know what I'm saying? That's the bottom line in my hall. You know what I mean? It ain't about what like the black people.
I do get your point where there are a lot of people waking up to the economic environment, and I'm saying that even those people that are they also wake up and find themselves just as powerless, right? Because they're behind the economic game. The same way we are, which doesn't allow us to participate at the rate that people who are more affluent, right? And by large numbers, people who are more affluent are of a different ethnic group, right? So when we're talking about who still has the advantage, whether them people use it, know it, no, they absolutely know it's real.
Right? Advantage over me, and they recognize. So the thing is, Logic, right? So my union brothers, right? The thing that separates them is they recognize that they got an advantage over me. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's what I'm trying to say to you, basically. The education.
Right. And I'm saying
they've been educated.
I'm saying right. So imagine. So that will be we going right back to full circle, right? So they know that they up 50 points in the fourth quarter, and you saying punt the ball, so I can have a chance. Like that's like
no, because the greater benefit comes from the solidarity with the black people. Even though they know they have a 10-yard advantage because they're white, they know that they're
personally.
Hold on. They know that they have a 10-yard advantage against the blacks, right? But they know that they have a 40-yard disadvantage because of the position that they're in life. Mm-hmm. You think what I'm saying? So if they
that's them personally. That's them personally, but as an ethnic, but as a but the whole group is a
the class sets us all back 40 yards, right? Then the black sets the black back 10 extra yards. So you gotta let white people know that you're behind 40 yards because of the class, and you're in that same class with the blacks, right? So you have to level that playing field. Now we can deal with the playing field of the extra 10% that the black people are behind the whites. We were all behind 40%.
I think that y'all are talking about. I think y'all are talking about people that is just as far behind, but the people that's in that middle ground. Hold up. Them people that could meet their gatekeeper tomorrow and break through. Like, they are they're fine right there where they're at. They are a day or two away from.
I know. The white boys I know, they ain't fine because they
that's what I'm saying. You talking about, like you said. You talking about people.
So you think they're cool with being 40 yards behind just because they 10 yards ahead of blacks?
What I'm saying is
Listen to what I just said. I need you to respond to what I just said. You saying that they cool with being 40 yards behind just because they're 10 yards ahead of black?
Yes.
Crazy. I'm gonna say
they just voted for Trump.
That's the ignorant facet of that group, right? But the educated
and that may be true, but their sentiment is true. They really do feel that way.
They don't recognize that they 40 yards behind.
They're ignorant though.
Yeah, Logic. You can't speak in absolute. I'm going to tell you right now because
hold on,
wait.
I got him where I want him.
I literally just started talking though.
Go ahead. No, you good. Go ahead. Say what you're saying.
Smalls went back on mute though.
But I went back on mute. You go ahead.
No, I won't. Go ahead and say what you're saying, Small. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is what you're even saying though doesn't even apply across the board because in California it's totally different. They don't have that sort of air out here because they recognize out here that they're not. It ain't no like the Indians are the doctors and lawyers and the Asians are the this and the that. It's the white. It's not like that out here, bro. So you can't speak in absolutes. That's all I was gonna say. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna stick my neck out a little bit with the argument. I'm gonna try to give y'all something to actually latch on to where y'all could trip me up. So what I'm saying is the people who actually do have the advantage are trying to keep it. Now, if you're saying that those people that you work with, Corey, aren't the people with the advantage, or you saying they only got a slightly?
I live a pretty affluent life, right? I'm not at the bottom of the run.
All right, so just start cleaning up. You saying?
I'm saying I'm not rich, right? I'm not a rich guy, right? But I'm not stock or nothing like that, right? And so I'm basically middle class, right? So basically, this is what these union across the board, right? When you're talking about union workers, right? They probably gonna be middle class, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna be doing decent. They got kids in college, they can pay their bills, they got a mortgage and a car loan and whatever else they want to do in life, right? But see, once they get educated, they understand that we are being marginalized too. We're being duped in the game too. So the thing is, they understand what the white boys understand is if we pull everybody up, it's gonna be good for everybody. You see what I'm saying? Not just me being satisfied with being 10% ahead of the black man, because the black man is 50 yards behind and I'm 40 yards behind. So why am I worrying about trying to keep this little bit of advantage? Why don't we just even the playing field out so all of us do better? You see what I'm saying?
Do you recognize that they didn't get mad at Trump for not fixing the economy? They got mad at him for not giving up the Epstein file, right?
You gotta hear how the white boys talk about that shit at my job, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the people at my job work with the Mexicans every day. They know that Julio is a good guy and he done been here for 40 years and he the best partner on this goddamn job site. And without Julio, this motherfucking job site wouldn't even go the way it's going. You know what I'm saying? Because you can say, oh, well, we can fire this person and get another one, but you ain't gonna get another Julio with the experience and you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like shit, I'm trying to tell you, bro, like the skills ain't replaceable in the way y'all think it is. You don't. It's not as easy to shit. It's not as easy to teach skills as people think it is. A lot of the times with skilled trades, motherfuckers be naturals. Not only are they naturals, but they generational tradesmen. You see what I'm saying? So Julio's folks then been building shit from scratch for his whole life and ain't never had the kind of tools that these niggas got out here now. But when you give Julio them motherfucking tools, Julio's a bad motherfucker. Julio's the baddest motherfucker on the job site, bro. And he does it economically. He do it faster and more economically. You see what I'm saying? And that's not hard. That's hard to replace. So what I'm saying is when them white boys is out there in real life, working side by side with Concrete Corey and Julio, right? They know, goddamn, this motherfucker gets me money. Working side by side with this nigga right here, it makes it easy for me to get my $200,000-$300,000 a year. And you got Trump trying to run Julio off. Them white boys ain't having that shit. The farmers, they not having that shit. You see what I'm saying? When you once the motherfuckers is educated and they know what's up for real, they see the real game, they quit, they stop being on that bullshit logic. That's all I'm saying is education.
No, I feel you, right? So my point is more about this whole, the way they got it set up to where he's still more likely to get that promotion than you are. Right? Where y'all might be coming out the same neighborhood and all of that. The gatekeepers that are already in place, they understand the mission, and they're more likely to put their man in position than they all want to us. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying that it looks a certain way, but it still benefits them in a way that we can't really even compare to, because it's set up that particular way. Because it's set up that particular way, he can, without his credentials, not be the best man for the job and still jump over 2 or 3 people.
But they
two or 3 positions if necessary.
See, listen, you got to hear how they talk about that, because they hire these white boys off the street, right? And this white boy come in because his uncle is the goddamn project manager, right? Now this white boy is out here with a journeyman's card. He ain't went to a day apprenticeship school. Then he get his motherfucking ass out here with a journeyman's card and don't know how to read a goddamn tape measure. White folks is tired of that. They tired of that, bro.
They might be tired of it, but you asking the uncle to get that shit up, bro, and it works
they
for him.
Trying to say no, we don't want
right.
That.
So I'm saying that they've been tired of that, right? But they can't get the uncle and them who in power, who already got the money, to stop doing it.
But listen. When you
and he ain't gonna stop doing it because it works for him.
Full circle. So once you get them in a union and you get them educated, then you get that motherfucking white boy ran off the goddamn job site. And Julio assumes his rightful position as the goddamn foreman because he the baddest motherfucker out there. You see what I'm saying?
But the person who need educated is the uncle, because he the one doing it. And since he doing it and it worked for him, it don't benefit him to stop.
The uncle know already. He just don't give
He already know better. That's what I'm saying. He already know. He just don't give a fuck.
And but that's not that's
right.
That's
and there's big pile of other people who don't approve of what he's doing, don't have enough power to stop him. So he's going to keep doing it.
In my example, you do have the power to stop that, right? So the uncle, right, when we call a business agent out there, right, the uncle has to send, is either you run this boy out off the goddamn job or you send his ass back to apprenticeship school. Which one? You see what I'm saying? That's how they handle that out there. So so what I'm saying, in my example, you got the power. Now I understand what you're talking about in a regular job setting, right?
Yeah. I'm talking about and that would be like the vast majority of the game being played, right? Not your specific scenario.
I know that, but see, that's why I was saying this is why I push education for the white folks and unionizing in the workplace. That's what I'm saying. That's what'll mitigate a lot of that. and the white folk and trailer trash going down to the projects and having a barbecue, bro. Educating. Stop the ignorance is what's the driver of the bullshit, bro. Once them white folks get the education, that shit stop. And now everybody get in their rightful positions. You see what I'm saying? So there's no way I'm gonna be the general foreman if we ain't unionized. I'm gonna tell you right now, Logic. If I was not unionized, it ain't no way in the fuck that I would have lived the life that I lived. Ain't no way in fuck.
So right. So you are one in a million, right? So I'm more so talking about the regular everyday occurrence of having these underqualified people in your position, right? However they get there, like they're gonna attempt to keep doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying.
I'm fine. They are going to keep trying to do that, right? But the thing is, what I'm saying is, if we unionize and get them motherfuckers educated, then they wouldn't be doing that kind of shit. That shit would be stopped. Nobody's going to keep taking $40 when they know they're supposed to be having $100 just because they know they're getting $30 more than you.
I get your point.
Yeah. It's the education. That was my main point, Logic. If you know what I'm saying.
The education is definitely gonna make a big difference. I just don't know how well it counters I don't give a fuck. You feel what I'm saying? Because I think I don't give a fuck run kind of strong. And then I think the higher you go up the ladder, the I don't give a fuck gets even stronger.
There's only one person that can say that though, Logic, and that's the one at the top. That's the billionaire. And he already know. He educated already. That's why he do the union busting. You see what I'm saying? That's why he do it, so he can maintain the shit. So he can maintain you competing with Julio, and he bringing his nephew in, and his nephew can't even read a tape measure, and all the other bullshit, right? It's only one person that benefits, and that's the motherfucking CEO and the corporations, right? The corporations is people nowadays. So just to let you know that. So those are the people that benefit from that. The regular guys on the job site, though, they don't benefit from that.
Well, Corey, if you think about it, that's really where you want it at. You would want it at the higher levels, right? Not on the bottom levels. You want it at the higher levels. And I'm saying that's where it's running rampant.
No, because that ain't where the thing is, that's not where the average Americans is at. You see what I'm saying?
That's where the power and the real money is at.
That ain't
that's where the decisions are at.
The power is in the people.
No, so listen, if you think about if you just take that into consideration, then you still are being gatekeeped out of the real shit.
Because you don't see the bigger picture, right? No, we all have a common goal. Even the CEO has got a common goal with the workers, right? You know what I mean? Like, we all got to get this motherfucking battery plant built, right? The customer, GM, need the plant built. The contractor need the plant built because he need to get paid for it. And the workers need a job to go to every day. So they need the plant to go up. Even the guys who going to work at the battery plant, after we do the construction, right? The guys who going to work there need it. So everybody's got a common interest, right? The thing is, we have to understand, we have to put the structures in the right place. You know what I mean? So the guy at the top, which is the corporations. So I'm speaking as the corporation as a person. The CEO and manager, they ain't doing nothing but working for the goddamn corporation. You see what I'm saying? So all the corporation wants to do is get the most money for the least amount of overhead. You know what I mean? And the people's interest is get the most money for the quality of your work, right? for the equal money for the time that I spend and the quality of my work, right? So what you got to do, Logic, is the top is only got one goal. He got a fiduciary responsibility. That's it. He ain't like what him worrying about how I feel and all of that. That's some dumb shit. If you a corporation, it's the people that's got to worry about all that. The work conditions, the safety, and all of the rest of the shit. You know what I'm saying? How these jobs get passed on, what qualifies somebody to work this job in this position and this, and that, and the other. That's in the people.
So Corey, you recognize that left alone, right? People were doing that so crazy that they had to put laws in place to slow that shit down, right? So like when the CEO started his company and he hired his friends, you can't stop him from hiring who he wants.
Yeah, yes, it will.
And then when he hired his friends, how you
he can love.
That's how you end. That's how you.
Friend ain't gonna be as productive.
They didn't put laws in place to slow it down. They didn't put laws in place to slow it down. They put laws in place to make it go faster and easier. That's why they made
that's how you end up with Aunt Debbie as the receptionist every time.
No, I ain't talking about nepotism. So you thinking about employees?
Yeah,
I'm talking about corporations. Corporations became humans to skip all the shit you talking about.
Absolutely.
That's why they passed the laws so that a corporation would have the same rights as a person.
Absolutely. Citizens United. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time, bro. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time. It just don't sound like it because it's Citizens United. It sounds like something good. That's why I say they always name the shit. When it's got a good name, always be worried, right? Anytime you hear something like right to work, when it sounds good like that, know that ain't nothing to do nothing but fuck you over, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like the corporation is he's an entity. He only got one job. It's a fiduciary responsibility. Logic.
By law.
Now I'm super interested. Now that I know I'm seeing I'm wrong somewhere, I'm actually super interested because when Corey when Corey gets me, normally it'd be something he didn't say about 10 times that I ain't catch it. So now I'm really trying to hear like what it is I'm missing. So go ahead.
No, what you're missing though is that also he keeps saying fiduciary, so it just sounds like he's what he's supposed to do. I'm here to tell you, if he does not put finances and his shareholders first, he can be removed, even if that means
that's what
he can go like that is they can remove him for if he said, listen, I had to buy the cobalt from a more safety factory in Africa, and that bumped the price up by 3 cents, which dropped the share price. Maybe didn't even drop the share price. The share price went up $3, but it went up $2.90. Yeah, it went up $2.90 instead of $3 because we had to pay this extra 3 cents for morals, and the shit was right to do. They can immediately call for a vote and get him the fuck out of here.
Absolutely. And that's the fiduciary part is the legal part, right? That's what meaning like, yo, you have a legal duty. You're legally bound by the investors, bro. And so that's all a corporation is. That's but they treat them as people. So like that's why I'm telling you at the top, you saying at the top, right? He ain't gonna put his nephew in there because his nephew don't know what the fuck he doing. And then he got to pay his nephew a reasonable price. So we ain't finna put him in there because he gonna slow the goddamn process down because he don't know what the fuck he doing. You see what I'm saying? So listen, that's not a corporation. That's somebody in management, right? That's somebody who's on the ground, the worker who's not unionized, right? Who's competing against each other, right? What the corporation wants you to do. So he's bringing in his nephew. Right, but if y'all was if it was unionized, you wouldn't have that kind of shit. Now he could bring it's nepotism in unions, right? But the thing is, if my nephew come in this motherfucker, yeah, I got him signed up to the union, right? But that motherfucker had to do probably more steps than I did to get up in here.
to prove.
You know what I mean? You know what's funny? Remember the free will conversation when you were talking about Pacific Railroad? Remember we was having those conversations? We was looking up the case Santa Clara County and Pacific Railroad. We talking about the Asians. We talking about the Asians and the Latinos. Well, one time you sent this to me, but it was like something from the 1800s, and that's actually the case also, where corporations they became persons under the 14th Amendment. No state can deny any person equal protection under the law. 1886, and then later on, corporations were allowed the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. So by like 1985, 1990, corporations were pretty much persons, just legal persons. That's why I tell anybody, just incorporate. All you're doing is just turning you're actually giving yourself protections that you can't have as a human that a corporation can have as a person.
Sometimes y'all got to click them links that I put in there, right? Sometimes, like, I know y'all be interested in Egypt, you know what I'm saying? And y'all want to argue about Egypt, but every now and then, just click one of them links that I be putting in there in the morning. It's good reading material, especially for that time in the morning, because actually at that time in the morning, most of y'all on y'all way to work or something. So
but
that's
Citizens United is the first. Yeah, it's the First Amendment. Citizens United is that group. They wanted to put out. Most of y'all know this. You probably just didn't put a name to it. Remember that group that wanted to put out that documentary about Hillary Clinton, and they were trying to say they wouldn't let her do it because it was during her election, the 2008 election. They wouldn't let the corporation do it, and Citizens United got a bunch of people, to help them because they were in support, and that's where corporations and unions got the First Amendment. They could spend unlimited money on it's basically it ends up being free speech in practice, but what the Supreme Court allowed them to do was they're able to spend unlimited amounts of money on political speech.
And money is considered speech, free speech, right? And so this allows, when you're talking about billionaires and shit like this, Logic, what I'm trying to tell you is now corporations have more human rights than your ass do.
Mm-hmm. That's where you get the super PACs from. Mm-hmm. Right after that, it went from political action committees to, as soon as they said unlimited money, now you got super PACs. Now you got political action committees that went worth maybe a couple $100,000, maybe the highest ones would be millions. Now you had $1 billion super PACs because after the ruling, now as an independent politician, I could spend wealthy donors and corporations. They spent as much money as they wanted to. Remember, you was only able to spend a certain amount of money. But now that money is considered the speech, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
So I'm trying to find a place where this runs parallel with that data that we looked up when we were looking up affirmative action. Remember when we were talking about affirmative action being good for black people, and we saw the numbers that even though they had affirmative action, you still don't see an increase in black people in management and all these other things, right? So I'm looking at that as a layer of protection for black people, right? That some kind of way people were still able to work around and not put us in those better positions. So I don't know what to necessarily attribute that to. If nepotism is the wrong word, if gatekeeping is the wrong word,
the workplace not being organized. That's
what it's not an organized thing.
You got to organize the workplace. That's my message here, Logic. You got to organize the workplace. That way you can organize education. You sneak the education in through the organization. That's how they did it. That's how the white boys have been educated around me, right? Because you learn about these different acts. You learn about how the union gets laws and acts passed. You know what I mean? These collective bargaining deals and all of this type of shit, right? You learn about all this different information. The education is there within the apprenticeship.
within the trade school. It's a schooling. Y'all think I didn't learn how to use my tools at trade school. Just to let y'all know that nobody taught me anything about my tools or how to finish concrete at trade school. That ain't what I learned. I learned safety, and I learned about things like the Taft-Hartley Act and shit like that. That's what they teach you at apprenticeship school. You learn your trade, from being passed down or in the field. That's what my granddad meant by it. So, like, a lot of people heard me say, like, what my granddad said was, I was telling them, I need a little bit of extra money, right? Because I want to buy some school shoes, right? Granddad said, you don't even need to go to school, boy. Everything you need to know is in that shovel right there you got, right? But the sentiment is, right, you learn your trade in the field. You learn how to get that money out there in the field, right? They don't teach you that in trade school.
There's other pieces to it, though, Corey. Give your grandfather more credit. There's
a lot of pieces, and it's a lot of
but when you dig in that motherfucking shovel,
you learn a lot of
life quick, and you realize that you fucking can't. Yeah. And that in actuality, life is struggle, and life is them damn calluses. Stop complaining about them calluses. Yeah. I used to always complain about my grandfather's rough ass hands. That motherfucker could slap a side of concrete or slap a brick. He could slap the edges and ridges off a brick. His hands were so goddamn what's the name. But then when you get older, you like, goddamn, that was a hard working motherfucker to get them hands like that. The amount of work he put in to get his hands to be that bristle. But the civil rights aspect, Logic, hey Chef, I'm not trying to be funny, bro. You're a funny ass dude, but I can't look at this white woman
that's
for
one
too
of my
much longer. So whatever you're doing with Chief X, let's just please, if you could, for our own sanity, bring this shit to a close within a few days. Because that is one of the most
Is that that's
you look like cream cheese.
The atheist girl, the atheist lady. Ain't that her?
No, that's the lady who made that's the lady who made that fucking documentary Chief X want us to watch. I immediately recognized the fucking her. She looked like cream cheese. Whatever cream cheese.
I'm interested in watching this documentary because I want to hear the music. I want to hear
I'm gonna do it live. I'm gonna do it live.
And that look like the lunch. That look like, bro, that look like the lunch lady. That's the lunch lady, man. That's the lunch lady.
Everybody.
Bro.
That's everybody.
Like the lunch lady.
I don't even be looking at shit to. I don't be looking at shit to niggas mention shit. Why you do that to me, Bass? Like I didn't need that.
She look like 6 stale donuts.
They won't let her be in high school. Like, she's the lunch lady in elementary school.
Yeah, she can never make it to high school. She wouldn't make it through, Corey. They'd clown her ass till the cows come home. She wouldn't make it through.
I was about to say she couldn't be our lunch lady. No, that was no.
Yeah, that's the elementary school lunch lady.
But it's that smile. What's killing me in that mixture is that fucking smile. She can go from that face on that smile to pure racism in half a second.
Hey, streams.
That's a lump of mashed potatoes with a nose and a mouth right there.
We're up and down. She's the nicest lady in the world. She swears she's the nicest lady in the world, though, Brad.
She look like that lady, bro.
That she's the nicest lady.
Yeah. She's the classic. Who, me?
Right. No doubt. The most racist.
Yeah. I got the picture from his.
Yeah,
no, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, she's the debunker. Hold on. She's the debunker of the documentary. She's the debunker. She's not the lady who did it. That lady named. No, she wrote an article. No, Chef can keep it there because she's the lady debunking the documentary. The lady who wrote it or did the documentary name is Liz Collins or something.
Hey,
she's the one that
all y'all niggas feel bad, but y'all know she still look like Honey Boo Boo.
Let me tell you how racist I am. You just told me all of that, and I don't feel no
She look
different.
like the, she
No,
look
no
like the lady
different.
that
Not
won't boil her
I don't
potatoes.
feel no different about her at all. Everything I said is still true as far as I'm concerned. That's
No, I'm
where
just
I'm at.
saying what that was an article against the documentary, trying to save people the trouble of actually watching that shit. You
So who are the
know, they've
people?
been knocking that down.
What was you saying about the person who made the documentary is actually married to like somebody
Well,
from the
she was. I
police
think she was
association?
married to somebody. Yeah, that's all in this lady's article. Like, you know, she brings up the shit they don't tell you, how they try to edit it out. It's a police forward standpoint. You know, obviously it's another perspective, but just breaking down the perspective of the documentary. Like, no, that shit is all angled. You know,
a bunch of goofy shit.
Yeah, well, when you watch it live, Chef, I want to be there. I want to be there. I'll watch that because I don't know if I could. I don't know. I couldn't get past the first part. I'm at 3 minutes right now.
Nah, nigga, man up. You said you was gonna watch all of that shit.
I am, but it's not. You got to remember. Listen, watching something in real time is one thing. Watching something later, I know George Floyd dies at the end of this.
Yeah, but
So,
I'm
like, I'm watching. It's a
I'm
little difficult.
I'm gonna watch this shit. I'm gonna watch this bullshit just so I can participate in the conversation. So if I do, you have to do it too. God damn it, man up.
Okay, well then
And
now,
watch.
so now I'm gonna say this. I don't like people telling me what I got to do. So you
don't have to.
You running down. You going down now. This sounds like what you about to let.
You don't have to.
Now we about to be on a different plane. But I got you. I hear you, Smalls. I hear you.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna stomach that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hits. Can we watch this? You think without copyright, or how do we do that?
What's that? The documentary?
Yeah.
You might have to play segments of it, pause it, have some commentary. Now you can't play it flat out. You might can play it at you might can play it at a maybe a little faster speed too. You know that. But
no,
you know, you
at a faster speed because I'm gonna be there I'm only there for the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? I just want to hear the music. That's it. That's all I want.
Shefford, let me know when you're watching it so I don't call.
Yeah, we'll take a chance. We'll take a chance and watch it.
That music is hilarious.
Yo, Bash, you rescheduling your Metal Netta classes today?
What Metal Netta classes?
Yeah, you said you were studying Metal Netta. How you gonna watch DVD and study Metal Netta at the same time? Can't do it, bro.
I'm not.
Can't do it.
You talking about me? I ain't studying.
Nigga, you said you were studying Metal Netta. You got Metal Netta classes today. You shouldn't be watching no DVD.
Oh,
yeah,
you sound like this nigga Mongo is telling me what I'm doing. Okay, all right, okay, no problem. Yeah. I'm studying Metal Netta.
Bro, we got classes at 7:00. The God hour, nigga. What you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot.
God hour, 7:00.
Shoot, whatever the fuck they be saying.
And make sure you have your money ready so you can put the $10 donation in the box.
I ain't gonna be able to get on the what's that shit, Logic? The solar boat.
Joey ain't been back. Joey ain't been back since.
That's another class for another day.
God, bro. You know what's sad? One of y'all gotta learn how to record, because I didn't come into the conversation until he said, all right, well, being that y'all were saying that, I gotta go lay down for a little while. And then y'all did yourselves a disservice.
I ain't never heard a nigga
go lay down.
Look, I ain't heard a nigga reply to an ass whooping for real like that, nigga. I ain't never heard a nigga just come out and fight and be like, nigga, I gotta lay down. I nigga whoop my ass. I ain't never, ever heard a nigga respond to anything like that.
So imagine
other than like the death of a family member, I ain't never heard a nigga say that shit.
But y'all know he always asks for that. He tell you how to kill him. He say, go show me that. He tell you, like, nigga, go get that. And sometimes you gotta go get a nigga what they ask for.
You know where his actual mistake is, though?
Oh man,
I heard him a couple of times, and he's starting to fall into the category of He said, yeah, because he said a couple times to Beast, I haven't read this. Reggie told me. Yeah. So now I'm starting to think like, so wait, because he wasn't even upset at what he's not betraying his own eyes. He's betraying what they tell. Like he's losing faith in the people that told him this stuff, not what he read for himself. So that's and because remember, even the conversation with Logic, he was out on his feet until Asar and Mel came in there, and then when we debunked Asar, he was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about this no more.
Richard, you see, my problem, Brass, is that I can't look at him as a serious individual, and I anytime I open the mouth, I have to crash out, especially since this George Floyd thing. With this George Floyd, George Floyd, the George Floyd argument pushed it over the edge. Yesterday, I crashed out because some Negro was implying, he wasn't even saying it. He was just implying that black people shouldn't have money because they don't know how to spend it. Any black man who watched what happened to George Floyd, and then is going to say the bullshit. No, that is not a black man. Chief X is not a black man, and anybody on this panel cannot convince me that Chief X is a black man. I dare anybody.
But it's a lot of that has to do with a lot of that has to do with where he's trying to lead people in the conversation, right? We all know each other, I hope, well enough to know how some of these conversations end or what the intent is. His intent is to tie that to the Black Lives Matter, to the liberals, to the Democrats, to the black people voting. So all the trigger words, you're being fooled, you peer pressure, like all these little childish innuendos. It's all a part of the same package.
Yeah, right?
But it's just still another. It's just another, avenue to it. It's all he's going to end up in the same place. Niggas is stupid and gullible.
No, but still, if you use that, anybody who use that, I use that as part of your arsenal. Find something else to use. You using that because he's implying that it couldn't happen to any of us, and that's not true. That's not true. Anybody in this room said what happened to George Floyd couldn't happen to them. The line or the back, the line. That's not true.
It could happen to any one of us. We all know that.
When the judges that took out of them cars to stand in the rain while the officers were saying all kind of bullshit. Professional black people have been subjugated to all kind of bullshit. And that's what you use to validate your argument. And then you're going to stand on blackness. So I'm ADOS.
Mm-hmm. No. He's also said, and I go to the defense of Chief X probably a little bit too much, possibly, but he's also said that a lot of this he is trolling. He said it because I even asked him, like, you do know you wearing MAGA hats. What? Ahmaud Arbery is trolling. He admitted that. He admitted that on a video.
But I think that's a convenient excuse a lot of times too. Again, I think his underlying point, and he says it enough himself. Nobody has to make this stuff up. That he started off plenty of sentence with y'all niggas. Y'all niggas this, y'all believe that, and y'all stupid. And he just wrote people gullible and been fooled, or it's hard to all these little trigger innuendos because he can't get the people with the honey, so he got to try the vinegar route. But the goal is still the same. Maybe that's his methodology. You know what I'm saying? Is to trigger you
completely. But all I'm saying
trigger you out of your mental state. Go ahead.
No, I agree. It's funny he tried to trigger you, but he's like the easiest triggered person in here. But my point is with him, it's like, listen, I know racists, and then I haven't yet to meet in my life the blatant KKK Aryan Nation racists. I know a bunch of racists that won't at least admit they're trying to trigger or they're trying to troll. So even if whatever it is that he's doing, at least he's not so far gone in it that he don't realize, like, I know I'm wearing this hat to piss you off. Like, I know there's some MAGA motherfuckers that'll say, why you wearing that hat? And they'll spit in your face. Like, they don't care. They're not trolling. They want to fight. Somebody need to die today type racist type shit. He ain't that. I don't think he's that.
No, he's not that. He's not that. But he's a special kind of, I don't want to say that word.
But you just said he ain't black, so.
No, he's not black.
It ain't really too much more you can. I mean, Stupid, you started off with Japan.
Yeah, he's not black. He's not black. He's not black. He's not black. I wouldn't want to go to war with him at my side. I wouldn't want to go to dinner with him. I don't want to go to the same restaurant that he goes to. I don't want to drink out of the same glass that he has drunk out of.
What?
No.
Are you for real?
He needs his own water fountain.
Yeah, he needs his own water fountain.
He needs his own bathroom. No, I ain't doing that.
That nigga gotta go to the back. He gotta go to the back and get his food.
No, I ain't going with that. No.
I want his civil rights taken away from him.
Damn.
Yes.
See, you know why I ain't going for that? Exactly what Chef is doing. You listen to Chef? Every time he talks, it's going a little bit further.
I want to
his
build
the AR-15
I want his civil rights. Listen, I want his civil rights taken from him, and I want his human rights violated.
See, there you go, buddy. It's just gonna get worse and worse. We want him in a chamber. Put him in a gas chamber. That's what we need to do. It ain't gonna stop. That's how he's starting with it. I ain't going there.
Yeah, at least let him get a fair trial. At least let him get a fair trial.
A fair trial by his peers. A couple white
people. Fair as it could be.
He's been here for 4 months. So he's already had his trial.
Right.
We already even tried this nigga. He didn't put up this. That's the fist. We know who this nigga is.
That was his closing arguments today. The jury got to deliberate at some point now.
We got some data now. We got some evidence for this.
And this is why
we got more evidence than the feds on this.
Black supremacy is worse than white supremacy. This is exactly why. Because we will do that shit to an extreme level. I ain't even been right. You got everything
that nigga finna get the whole Holocaust by himself, nigga.
I convicted so many of these niggas already. I didn't convicted so many. Unc has been convicted by me multiple times.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Oh my God.
You guys cannot get rid of a nigga like Chief X though. Bro.
No, Unc and Chief X is under the jail to me.
I'm gonna tell you the truth though, Steph.
I think this is crazy.
No, you can't get rid of them because they represent an unapologetic point of view that's needed, whether it's wrong or right.
They represent stupidity.
No, that's the problem.
That might
I can't believe you just said that, Smooth. I can't believe you said that.
Logic. Do you get what I'm saying, though? You get what I'm saying, though?
I agree with him, but the problem is, Smalls, it's not unapologetic. They do the flip and they do
they flip back and forth. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Right.
It's a tactic from the listen. I'm gonna stay on this time. I'm gonna say this forever. Chef know Unc best, and he been around Chief X the most. And that man said, I don't think I've ever had a genuine conversation with either one of them.
That's great.
That itself is enough for me. That says pretty much anything. So unapologetic don't fall under those lanes. Because at least you'd be having like if you know somebody is racist. I keep telling you, I'd rather know you racist then think you racist or not know. Like, just lead with that. So that way I know how to deal with you. Or lead that you're trying to scam me, or lead that you're trying to take advantage. Don't fucking lead with, I love you.
That don't work.
I'm gonna ride with you forever. And the whole time you just fucking with me.
The bullshit
I can't argue with that.
Bullshit don't fly.
I think we having an honest conversation. You just fucking with me right now. You know, just
I mean,
I'll be with somebody and be like, I didn't even know who you were until you just said that. You know the motherfucker 3 years, and you like, what? That's who you are? God.
But when I say unapologetic, it's just like that's how do I want to say
that deep breath mean you bullshitting, right?
I'm not bullshitting. I'm not bullshitting. My thing is, Chief X don't give a fuck what y'all niggas think. He's gonna say it regardless, and I just think that it's good. But what's that?
No, I ain't gonna cut you out. I apologize.
Yeah, I just think that it's good whether his points are ignorant or whether his points are genius. Like, keep that nigga around, bro, because like he don't hide himself,
I think
in that way,
it's important so we don't have an echo chamber. I mean, I think
kind of thing.
Even on
what I mean?
Even any topic, it ain't when y'all have these Egypt conversations. The one thing I don't like about the Egypt conversation is that the people that are on the other side aren't here to offer.
They're not properly represented.
Yeah, offer something.
No, that's not mine. Brass, I'm going to disagree with you. Brass, I'm going to disagree with you, Brass, on this angle. Imagine all of us in this class studying medicine. I was studying organic chemistry. And we're in the class. And somebody in the class.
I know where he's going. He's finna cut me. You finna cut me, stupid.
Yeah. Somebody in the class. There's a student in the class saying, "Oh, no, the world is flat and medicine not real and germs not real." And no, and talking pure bullshit. And somebody on the outside looking in and say, these 5 learned people, the core of the class, allowing this idiot to have a voice, and his voice has been disproven 1,000,000 times. That's what Chief X is. He's trying to act like he's smart. He's trying to act like he's smart. He's trying to act like he knows shit. And he wants to be the first one to say something. I'm the first one in the conscious community to say it. And I'm the first one. And George Floyd is a crackhead. Dude, you were a crackhead. You were sucking dick as much as George Floyd. Is what? You hate him because he's still on crack?
So let me say this to you.
That was crazy.
Whoa, but we ain't know if Chief X got cock. We don't know.
I was about to say you cut me good.
I only think it's a growing area. I don't want to go. Hold on, I don't want to go down the
let's go down. My apologies for using that platform for that. But one crackhead out in another crackhead. When he was a crackhead.
We don't gotta talk about
he said he was
whatever he did on Sesame Street, it stayed on Sesame Street.
Yeah, but listen.
But you know what? Leaving all that out. Stu Pease is right. Go ahead, Brad. Stu Pease is right. Like you got me.
One, this is not class. There's no one teaching. We are not learning. We're just sharing experiences. So the class analogy don't work. But what the Discord is though, and why you do need people like that, is because there are people in society like Chief X that have the views that they have the thoughts that they have, and you don't get really an opportunity in real life to talk to them.
And that's all I'm saying.
In discourse, when we having these conversations, remember there's an audience watching, either live or recorded. So discourse to me is more like a societal conversation. So I want to hear, whether I like them or not, I want to hear someone that does believe George Floyd, or this, that, and the other, because that's more of a reflection of what society is versus just some clean cut whatever. Because here, let me tell y'all something. This is still entertainment. This is not class. So we still have to make sure that there's all of us agreeing with each other is terrible media.
Well,
it's not good media.
The only reason why I said stupid. One second. The only reason why I said the only reason why I said stupid got me though is because about added value. We got to make sure that just because someone has a contrarian view, that at least they're adding value to the conversation, and that's where stupid might have me.
Yeah, but okay. So once again, y'all run the danger in these societal conversations of, this is America though. Like you do get free. There's this thing called free speech, right? Yeah. So unless he's saying the most vile, wild ass crazy shit, then he can be allowed. Not even allowed. Like it's his right to be able to say, what he want to say. Now I don't gotta agree. We all know I don't agree. I'm just saying it doesn't do because see, this goes to a separate argument really quickly. It does us I'd rather hear his points and then just show the facts that disprove his points than just shout him down, call him a racist, call him a coon, call him a Sambo, all this other shit. Because really you just showing your ignorance too.
Yeah, that's where I was coming from initially. Yeah, but
right too. You know what? Hold on. Hold on. This ain't the world, right? This is a small group of people. This ain't the world, right? That's one. Two, it's helpful for all of us. Now, as black people, we good with the dozens and the cracking on people and the joking. We good with that with strangers. We good with that with each other. So there's a lot of things that can fall under that paradigm, right? How we joke with each other, how we fuck with each other. Somebody hear that, who don't really understand that, they were like, wow, he is disrespected that person. No, they do, that's just how we talk to each other sometimes. Now, if we're trying to get a point across and try to share some relevant material, when we put condescension in there, now you just took yourself out of that realm of probably trying to get that point across. And I'm just gonna read what Chief X wrote, right? And it's not to kick him or none of that. It's just to understand that my perception of it. He enters these things from a few different perspectives. To one, give himself an out. Two, to try to make his point, and then some level of condescension if it doesn't go over well. Right now, I'm gonna just read it. Thank you, because I've been dying to have this fresh new conversation and content. That's cool. He said that. That's great. New conversation, new content. If you want to troll, we get it. Okay. Please don't start watching unless you're totally free of distraction and focused. Now you're being told how to watch it. Okay, that's fine. You want me to pay attention so I don't miss nothing. That's cool too. I watched it 3 times for clarity. Okay, he's well studied on it. I can tell the convo if anyone, I think what he meant to write, if one really watched it all. So he'll be able to tell if you didn't watch it all. So now we get into this teaching thing where if you say something that's probably disagreeing with them, you didn't watch it all. He's setting up this other angle now, right? I don't know. I'm Santa Claus. I don't know if you've been good or bad. It's a great documentary. Trust me. Okay, cool. Me, I look for the condescension in a lot of comments. That's just me. Because that determines if I'm going to listen to the rest of the shit. But I'll just read the last sentence. It may piss you off and you'll be mad. You got tricked. So now if you don't feel like you got tricked, the other option is, or you'll go into denial. So that's the 2 things you should come out of. This is what he wrote. Now, if you don't come out of there, A, being mad that you got tricked, you're in denial. Where's the sincerity in anybody? So I'm not clicking on shit until I see the person have a conversation a few times about it before they go off the fucking rails and start calling people names and being condescending. Okay, now I'm not watching it because you already set it up for me. That if I don't come out of it with the same opinion you got, I either got tricked or I'm in denial. Okay, there go that vinegar. So there's all these little, and I'm sure we all know somebody in our life like that. I do. So you can see where the conversation may end or how it's going to end. Just on, let the person just respond a few times. And then it didn't take long, and we got right there. This is what to watch, how you watch it. I'm gonna know if you didn't fucking watch it, and if you don't come out it with either one of these two choices, then yeah, you probably didn't watch it, or you tricked or denial. So yeah, that I just read what he wrote. That's all. I ain't saying not agree or disagree. Just he got it all figured out. Well, I watched it. You already told me one. Fuck it. Okay. I guess you pick one. You could be either or, tricked or denied. So
seriously, don't sound like a one of those it don't sound like TD Jakes, one of those preacher, mega church preacher. Even in how he explained the documentary a while ago. Jesus, if you don't see what I see when you read the scripture in the Bible, oh, you have been tricked or bamboozled. This dude. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you the scripture. Yes, let the message fall on fertile ground. Change your ways.
This dude's funny as a motherfucker. I don't care what nobody say.
Yes,
I'm just not in a place where. Are y'all in places? Maybe I'm a little weird in this way. Are y'all in places where y'all could talk to people that have the opinions that Chief X has without fisticuffs and violence?
No. What are you talking about? I can't play none of this shit out loud with that nigga saying that dumb shit.
That's what I'm saying. Listen to my point though. So in a bit of a sick way, I guess. Y'all can call it whatever y'all want. Yeah. But in a bit of a sick way, I can't have the George Floyd conversation in real life with somebody with the views that
it's going to turn into
but I could have it on I could have it on my
Man, I would even entertain it. I can't entertain it in life.
Yeah, in real life, if I call even a whip of that shit, I'm just not fucking with you.
Yeah, I'm not.
But Brass, hold on. What if I use that as a tactic to trigger you into a Black Lives Matter argument, then to trigger you into a anti-democratic argument, Democratic Party, or then to trigger you into black people are stupid and sheep and gullible because they vote down. That's what I'm saying. Standing by itself, it's just a trigger mechanism, and we know where it's going. We know exactly where it's going. So yeah, we just went through this with COVID and family members, right? People not speaking to their family over, you're not gonna take a vaccine. Oh, you gonna take a vaccine? We just went through that. Yeah. So yeah, I think we can have those tough discussions, but like you said, I'm looking at the condescension and your intent. If you intent just trigger me into saying, oh, they did right by court, oh, so Democratic style, all this. Now somebody else is having the conversation because they're looking at the evidence and the information, Yeah, I think we can have those conversations out loud and just say, oh, that nigga was high. He died because he was like, come on. But
it kind of let me know a little bit more about Chief X in a way of that means you're intelligent, right? But you don't understand. No. Hold on, Stu.
Use that word. Find some other word.
Okay, he's a human.
Right. I will accept that.
I say human, but that you don't even realize. One of the biggest issues with the George Floyd case is they don't even realize medical language and cardiopulmonary arrest is
you got him with that.
Something that a pathologist would do and then also say manner of death was homicide. If you're saying that the manner of the death is homicide, and it's funny how you can even juxtapose the initial autopsy where you could see they talk about his heart, they talk about the drugs, and then they talk about the knee on his neck causing asphyxiation. Then you see the second autopsy that's independent where they don't even talk about the other shit. They just say homicide, knee to the neck causes asphyxiation. And then they get to court and they realize, and it says, even with all of those factors, a healthy man would have died under those circumstances because his chest was not allowed to expand to get oxygen and blood to his brain. And so that wraps it up in a neat bow. But when he keeps saying cardiopulmonary arrest, he don't realize every person that dies has cardiopulmonary arrest because your heart and your lungs stop working. That's everyone. That's every death ever. Even if you were exploded, your heart and your lungs stop working. If you had cancer, your heart and your lungs stop working. If you was on life support and they pulled you off a machine, that's why cardiopulmonary arrest isn't a term that a pathologist would even use, unless they didn't know. If they didn't know what caused it, they didn't have the video and all of that, then they would use that. But other than that, I don't know.
His federal charges is 20-something years too, and it wasn't for murder. It was for him. It was the Chauvin. His charges, his federal charges, was for civil rights and another case. Like I think they put two cases together, not just George Floyd. It was something with him violating people's fucking civil rights, whatever. So he got 22 years on that, even though it's concurrent, right, with the state charges. Even if they would have not tried him for murder, he still got 22 years, the same amount of time in federal prison.
Right.
That was, how they do that, to kind of block you off. So, okay, yeah, even if you beat that over there, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You still gonna sit down, they're gonna sit you down for probably, I think, the whole time, the whole 22. But
I think it's still good.
Some conversations don't need to go down them road. It's just the people having them. Yeah. He's trying to trigger into something else, which is, if it's a new conversation, good. And I don't know how old everybody was when we found out documentaries aren't always truthful. Like everybody finds out, and they're like, when you're young, you hear a documentary, you watch it. And if most of us have started with animal documentaries, you watch shit on nature, and you think the shit is true. You think it's this. Then you get older, you find out who they're funded by, who's producing them, what are they left, right leaning? What is it? Any background to do with it? Yeah, it's not always straightforward. So just because we see documentaries, it's like, oh, look at this. This must be true. That's not true.
For my generation, though, we got lucky because there was a certain fat guy named Michael Moore that used to fuck it up quite frequently, even though he got a lot of things right. So, like, you like, because of him, like, most folks out of our generation, probably Chef's generation too, like, see right through that documentary shit. Like, it ain't always, what it says it is, So
I think
it's like a presentation style. By the way, it's a style of presentation.
Chef, that goddamn thumbnail is fucking hilarious. You ain't right, and that's why I was laughing my ass off a few minutes ago. But y'all go ahead. Yeah.
The thing with these conversations too, I think a lot of times, see y'all. I mean, y'all spoken to Chief X. We kind of went through this yesterday. Y'all have spoken to Chief X a lot more probably than me, so it ain't really like some of y'all I've seen are just taking the tact of, I don't think this is even a productive conversation at this point. This and the other. For me, it's still intriguing, but some of these people you do know they can't dispute the shit that he says about certain things. Because I don't think he's lying when he says, there are people that saw the documentary and changed what they thought and stuff like that. I don't think he's lying when he says that. So I would say, I think it's better to give the proper information than just give silence. Certain points I want to speak on. That's kind of why I got upset yesterday, and I apologize to anybody who got offended, but that's why I got upset when he said, name some things black people can't do that white people can in 2025. And I didn't hear 1,000 people yelling, right? That because I've heard 1,000 people yelling in here about the Green Sahara and Kushites and shit. But something like that deserves immediate pushback. And that's just my opinion. But if y'all are saying y'all have heard this or he ain't accepting it, I can understand that too. I can't say that.
Well, the thing is, though, Brass, and especially coming from me, because I've been accused quite a few times of being a Chief X apologist.
You said you've been guilty of being a Chief X apologist?
I've been accused. You know that. Y'all niggas always.
No. They got you under the jail, Smalls. They got you under.
I'm just saying you were guilty.
You
I wouldn't
already
say
know
the
that.
accusation. I just said you were guilty. But go ahead.
I mean, listen.
You like to see the good in people, bro. I understand.
I do. I'm just an optimist, brother. I don't like a broken clock is right at least twice a day, bro. You feel me? So I can't
that
do
means
that.
It's wrong a lot of times. But that argument, if someone, my father told me about people who say that, you should stop listening to them. Because even if a broken clock is right twice a day, what about the other motherfucking 23 hours and 58 minutes?
Listen, as soon as I started saying that shit, I was like, watch this nigga have a comeback. It's gonna be fucking.
No, it's
anyway. It's right. I mean, you're right.
What's the there's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, that's the sickest shit I've ever heard. It's like, you don't got nothing better than that. I don't know where that comes from. I never looked it up.
I use AI when I don't want to engage. I was not getting in that conversation with him. I'll let the computer handle shit like that, because it's and again, if me and Chef is talking and I'm trying to present, and I ain't saying how people should have I'm just saying I noticed the dynamic, like Fetty, right? If Fetty's presenting information, it's different if Chef or me go, man, that shit sounds stupid. He's presenting the information. Once he goes, y'all sound fucking stupid for not listening to this. Not saying he said, I'm just using him as an example. Y'all ignorant as fuck. Y'all dumb as hell. Y'all brainwashed. He fucked up his own point. He fucked it up. We can yell whatever we want from the peanut gallery. That's gonna happen. People gonna disagree. But when you get off your pedestal and get down in the mud, then it's gloves are off. It's all fair now.
Yeah. And
that's what happens. So I'm trying to see how serious you are about your point. If somebody could knock you off your square by who says bullshit, or Corey. Man, that's bullshit.
Ain't nothing but
or Chef or Chef goes, what? I don't even know what you're talking about right now. If you knocked off your square, then you might try another way to present.
Listen, I almost listen. I was working on a car earlier, so I couldn't come off of mute because my hands were greasy. When that motherfucker was trying to duck the conversation with Chef, I wanted to hit him with his own line. I want to hit him with, "Hey, Chief X, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous." That's a classic. That's a classic Chief X line. Don't be nervous. Why you getting nervous? Don't be nervous.
Chef has full residence, like his evil Loki ass. He has full residence and motherfucking a 1-year lease in Chief X psychology, and he uses that shit every chance he gets.
Absolutely. Yeah. You stuck in there, bro. Whether you want to be or not. Yeah, whether you want to be or not.
Chef throw that. I don't even know what we doing.
Dirty as hell when he doing that.
Yeah, he throw that in there and fuck up the whole conversation. I don't even know what we doing right now. Motherfuckers go off. They go off. I'm like, nah, don't fall for it. Don't just stay on your point. Don't fall for it.
You gotta hear the part where he told him. He said, "And y'all make sure y'all remember he still ain't read that shit either." Like in the middle of all of it, like. Read. We gave you the chance. Read. Hey, hits. Not since you off. What's the name? Answer that question. I don't know if you watch. Oh no, it's a recorded stream. We're not live. What was the best decade for Black folks starting from 1900?
Oh yeah.
And it's got to be the best decade for.
What was the best decade for Black folks?
That should require some research, but. I would probably say maybe after
do 10 years. 2000. It's got to be like a set, like 2000.
Probably probably like 50 to 60, 55, 50 to 60. And I base that and I only base it on our well-being. Obviously, is connected to the well-being of the country. So ain't no scenario where we're doing good and the country's just fucked up. Like we got higher employment. We got, better wages and we got better health. And no, I think it's connected to the, country as a whole. I would say right after like World War II, maybe, I don't know, 50 to 60.
Okay.
Off the, just freestyling.
Sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
1971 to 1980. Black people. 71 to 80.
I said that without data.
I noticed that with all of our answers, even though it might not be the same decade, the decade seems to coincide. So, in other words, I gave the 70s, right? Well, Jossie gave the 60s. You gave the 50s, right? You can kind of lump those in if you wanted to, right? And then my second example would have been the 90s, right? And then Brass gave the 2000 to 2010. I don't think anyone kind of really made the argument for the 80s because that was the crack era.
If you tell me the crack era was the best era for black people,
no one did that. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone did that.
I need you to defend that one.
I don't think anyone did that.
Ronald Reagan, George Bush Sr., and the crack era. The best for black people? Hell
yeah.
Even the 90s was bad. There was a lot of incarceration.
Mass incarceration.
In the 90s, like the 90s was rough.
Brass did bring that because my argument for it
and then now you got
the cultural
in the 90s you got crack babies. See, that's the part that you forget. Like in the 90s,
there's
you
always
don't the crack era
in every generation.
You got the children that came from the crack. So shit.
Yeah, because what I said hits was the cultural, the pop culture influence, like that, like we was on during that, like Michael Jackson, you had Fresh Prince, and you had the Cosby, and this, that, and then like every decade that you could name, I think that you would find a hindrance in each one. I don't think there's one that you're gonna. I think probably the purest one, like I said, with Brass would be 2000 to 2010. Like other than Hurricane Katrina, like what's the complaint?
There's some things I hid because I was trying to defend my argument, but Hits is here, so I can't really hide it no more. Remember we had the Patriot Act too. So once
that's not a black thing.
No, it is a black thing because the Patriot Act.
How?
Because the Patriot Act in New York also led to you can't walk an inch in the. They used the Patriot Act in New York to be able to put up cameras in places where cameras shouldn't be.
Surveillance.
So they began to surveil. They thought they were telling you they were surveilling for terrorists. And now once you started seeing all these RICO indictments come along and all of this shit, people began to realize when they get their paperwork that you can't step out of your house in Queens and go and drive around New York for a few hours without at least 95% of that being on camera.
Okay, so you know the problem with that?
That's not a good thing. That's an invasion of your rights, and it was used disproportionately against us, against black people.
Well, what I'm also going to say too is we're not disproportionately criminals, and so I wouldn't use that as a killer for that particular decade.
But even if we're not disproportionately criminal, black people be getting locked up for doing shit that wasn't criminal for a very long time.
There you go.
In these RICO cases, remember, in the RICO cases, you might have been on the phone with the guy that's the big time drug dealer, but they just neglect to tell you grew up with this big time drug dealer. So y'all might have been talking about fucking fantasy football or something. It might not necessarily be, the people that when they do them big drug sweeps, you might be there playing fucking 2K or some shit. You're not necessarily a drug dealer, but then the other piece is You know, remember, the only reason some black people get free of decades of imprisonment is DNA. Before they got the DNA, all they got is, we think you committed this murder and your phone pinged this tower at this time in this place. And that's all the evidence sometimes that they need, because, you know, we get disproportionately policed. The only thing in my era that I think was disproportionate, I think it was for all, I won't say it was for all black people, but I will say it was a major event, was Katrina.
I was in prayer. No, hold on. You said 2000, right? To 2010.
2000,
you had the housing crash. Yeah, you had the housing crash. That fucked up a lot of wealth.
Yeah,
home ownership. That like, and again, we talking about black people, like good or bad times. That was that. Yeah. Any, you know, I where was I working? I think I worked for a pharmaceutical company in 2096. Yeah, about halfway through 2000. My 401k after that shit hit dropped about like 35%.
Yeah, he got
like a lot of some people 40%, some people 50%, like just got mashed out.
But what happened before that?
Brass, actually, I was what does it say, Brass? I was actually gonna fight for your decade harder than you.
No.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. Hold on,
but yeah, actually,
I'm gonna present some facts though.
Yeah, he killed me with that one.
Before that happened, we had the highest. The black middle class was at its highest, I think, net value in history up to that point. Now I agree, and I brought up the recession, but I looked at the recession as, yes, it hit us, but it didn't hit. It hit everybody. I'm trying to separate the stuff that was specific to us. Like I'm talking about.
I don't think you can. I don't know. I don't think you can. That's what I was saying before. It's hard to separate us from the country as far as impacts outside of not impact, what we could do that wouldn't represent a larger part of the country. Say our unemployment levels were low. That would probably mean across the board unemployment levels were low. Say our income went up, or more African Americans graduated from college, across the board that would probably be the case. Like you probably have to dig to find something that we were up while the rest of the country was down.
Right.
Like that definitely would take some research, and it probably wouldn't be a long period of time, you know. But yeah, that's how I think we'd have to do that. You'd have to find when we were up, even if it's a little bit, you know, even if it's just a little bit.
Sad to say, it's just tough to do. I'm sorry to say, because
I might have to put that in the computer later on. Let it see.
I come up with. Because I went from 1900. I went from 1900 to 2025. So I'm gonna go backwards. I can't use 2020s. One, because it ain't a full decade. Two, COVID. Just COVID alone, showing the underlying diseases in healthcare, I had an issue with it. 2010 to 2020 would have been my second choice, but there was a lot of stuff in 2010, like the end of Obama's presidency, the beginning of like it was just a bit of a tough time. And then the mass incarceration, it was a little crazy. The unemployment got a little out of hand.
I would stick to my guns and say the 90s.
Listen, just say whatever you want. That's fine.
I would stick to my guns. 90s.
Here's the problem in the 90s. I'm not celebrating no fucking decade with the 94 crime bill and fucking crack babies. I'm not doing it. It's not we're still in the crack era, and now the children are being born with not the children, but the children are now middle-aged to teenagers. So even if we're saying we ran culture ain't enough to overcome the 1 gram of crack versus 500 grams of cocaine. That's when that whole bullshit started, where they started locking up niggas on the corner for fit. There are people in 2025 just coming home from jail for 1 gram of 1 gram of crack in 1996. So we're in 2025. Think about all the people that's coming home now. Meech is coming home. Supreme and all of them is coming home. All of them guys from the Fat Cats and all of them, they got 30
people we
years.
know is coming home. You know,
Alpo and all them guys is coming home. That means they've been in jail 40 years. For some of these guys is not. It wasn't all the kingpins. Some of y'all niggas like his is saying. Some niggas uncles is coming home. Their fathers is coming home. So I can't get with that. 80s is the crack era. I can't do it. 70s. That would probably be one that has a little bit, but then I can't do 70s because you got Nixon and the fucking war.
And Reagan, yeah.
And you got Nixon and Reagan. Like to say that was a good time for us, I don't know. And the 60s.
I'll tell you what, I have a custom GPT, right? That basically deals with African American. So if you put a topic in or a question in, it should respond with data about African American impact or its effects on African Americans. I'll put the link in the chat. So if ever you want something maybe specific, maybe that can be more helpful. It'll go right to the GP. You know, it just deals with African Americans. So
I got a question for
you.
you.
Know how it works.
I got a good question for you, Hits. And Logic, if you could talk, I got a question for you. So Chef and Mujasi both said the 60s. And I said in the 60s, now they pushed a bunch of stuff. I wish Chef was here for his argument, but they pushed a bunch of stuff. But they were talking about that, you know, the civil rights, the different things that that came across that helped. But here's my question about the 60s. I said to them, but that was also the era where Martin, Malcolm, Medgar Evers,
assassinations, facts. Yep.
And then the other part in the 60s that people don't talk about, and it's kind of like a forgotten part of the 60s, but that was also a very heavy uprising. A lot of the major riots were in the 60s. Like the ones like the I know the Newark riot, the Watts riot, all of those are in the 60s, right?
No, you're right. I agree with that. Yep.
So my thing is, even though we technically got our civil rights during that time, even though the 60s to me, the assassination of them three in the 60s, I had to look this up. Medgar Evers was assassinated in 63, X in 65, King in 68. Then you had, during that time, you had the Watts riots, the Detroit riots, the Newark riots, and the Chicago riots. You had COINTELPRO program started in the 60s. And then you had, even though the civil rights laws opened new doors legally, the unemployment stayed about the same or worse. Job automation and deindustrialization hit at the same time. And then they also said that there were studies based on the constant images of dogs, fire hoses, lynchings, and assassinations created a trauma in the 60s that bled into the other areas. So even though the 60s was like a transformational era, it was very problematic. Where do you stand with people that say Martin, Malcolm, and it's still, because of the Civil Rights Bill, the Voting Rights Act, it still was our greatest decade, despite all of that?
Well, I think greatest is subjective. Like that's like you'd have to do like a data, study to go, okay, there was less incarceration at this time versus, like, you'd have to weigh that out. That's difficult. But that, anytime you have, it looks like in history or our history, anytime you get great successes, you also have, fucked up shit on the other end. You get the white lash. That's what they call it, white lash. The 60s and early 70s, you get the Black Power stuff. You get the entertainers that are more prevalent and shit. That's going up.
Get her ass out of here.
Shouldn't we go downstairs? We should go upstairs, man.
Mute your mic, Small.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second.
What you say?
No, it's I think our culture, you get, like I said, the Black Power movement, and you got the movies and the different technologies, got our faces all over the world, sports, all of this shit. It's so, but you have the assassinations, the riots, police brutality, like you said, water hoses and all. And then it depends on where you at in the country.
True.
Like the South, they always been going through it. Always. So that you might have to break that down a little further. Like what was good in the Northeast and Cali may have been shitty for the South. Like they may not have seen that many changes. Or up in Chicago, Detroit, and all that area. So that's
Smalls
a big question.
Was telling us how we didn't really the thing that we're not even touching on, and this is where I'm surprised Smalls is saying the 90s too, because the 90s too is when they had that crash unit in Los Angeles for the games. So that's when motherfuckers, they pulling out battering rams and fucking beating down
military
your door
vehicles and shit like that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it gets a little, to me, it just gets, I don't know. It's a great question. I think a better question or a supplementary question would be, what's the best Black generation? And I think
I'm gonna put the GPT in the I'll put the GPT in the regular chat. Y'all could use that.
What's a better generation?
So what was I supposed to be answering again?
No, what could you look at the 60s minus the assassinations, minus all of the riots, the uprising? Could you look past all of that and still say that it was the best generation? Or would you say the fact that we could have a Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Medgar Evers, and countless others that got murdered and assassinated and taken from us, where would you put the 60s adding all of that?
I can see how you can, but the only way I can see how you can is by, it depends on like what your goal is for Black people. It's like what you would what route that you might have preferred them to have taken, or however they were getting things done. But I think it's like something particular about how they're getting whatever they're getting done at that time. I think that's where the preference is. Like, and it's a difficult question, and ain't no doubt about it. It is subjective, but I think that is what ultimately they'll point to. Like we'll wind up having a discussion about the characteristics that I value versus the ones that you do, and those will just ultimately lead to different ends. Or like, you know what I'm saying? You value those particular things because the way you would like for them to do in the future is that, predicated on that. You can build off of that better than you know what I'm saying? That's the way I see how you can do that.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, my concern would always be, I'd have a hard time saying anything was great for us before the civil rights movement. Because it's just being on this earth without civil rights. I just can't imagine that.
Yeah, definitely the impact of that is probably longer lasting than a lot of things too. So that, and again, that's another avenue that you have to look at. Okay, what decade was the most impactful? Now, there's bias, right? Things that we've done and maybe accomplished before, and then fucking to us. To us is that's
yes.
If we ain't moving, that don't mean ain't nobody moving on us. So that's a super question, but it's supposed to bring about more questions. That type of question is supposed to,
right. So in your answer, right. So maybe describing it as disregarding it or like looking around it. That's probably not the right way to describe it. So in spite of those atrocities happening to us, right? Like what is it about the things that we were doing that you would value over another period, like the 2000s?
The unity. There was never a time, I don't think
I was talking
I
to
don't think
Hits
there
because
was
he
ever.
said it.
Oh, okay, go.
Oh no,
No, he doesn't
Brass
say
was the
2000.
'60s guy.
Yeah, he
I
don't
was
say
like
the
after.
2000. Yeah, he don't
Oh,
say
okay.
the
I
2000. I
must
say
have
the
misread
2000.
that.
Yeah, no. My thing with the one way you will get me in the 60s where you having that conversation is you will get me with. I don't think black people were more collective than. I don't think there was more of a we at any other time other than the 60s. That was a time, I think, where unilaterally, I think across the globe, but definitely across the United States, we all saw civil rights within our grasp and got together to go get it. You know what I mean? All is 100%, but if there ever was a collective we, I would say the
That was it.
60s echoes that time of like, why would I go? Like now it'd be like, trying to go march and shit like that. It's like, so, now you got people that'll say, why? Why am I doing that? But versus then it was like, yeah, what time is the march, brother? Oh, but it's gonna be, dogs and shit. So what? I gotta go. Like even situations of like, I gotta go to jail for real. Like no, it's like okay, cool. So when I go to jail, we got the bail fund, this, that, and the other. Yeah, it was a little different. So.
No, that's definitely a tough question. That's I have another question for another day for another topic. I was gonna talk to Mujahid, but where's it? Trying to figure out how to say it. Who are we first, or who are you first? Right? I know we're fathers, sons, husbands, black men, black women, mothers. Like, but who do you see yourself as first? Who are you first? And that may obviously help us get some insight on each other, how we view shit, how we feel about certain things. But that it came to my mind. We were talking, but you guys were talking about something. I listened to the video, and I was like, okay, that person must be that first, like Afrocentric first. Period. So who are you first? And I know the easy thing we all say, oh, I could be three things at once. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine too. But one of them has to edge out the other, even if it's by just a little bit. Who are you first? And that, that'll just give us some more insight on each other. Because the conversation, I think we all know how each other feel about certain shit or where we stand on it, what we on record with. But, when we start dealing with new people,
you first?
Who are you first?
Who are you first?
Who am I first? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just thought the question yesterday. Oh, it's tough as shit.
I might do it tomorrow, but I'm gonna do this as a show.
I was like, I don't know.
Who are you first?
I'm telling you, yesterday I thought about it because Mujahid put the thing for his show up for his fire pit program, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna need some questions in there too for things to kind of give us some idea of how we're gonna deal with these topics, But yeah, who are you first? Who am I first?
Who are you first?
I don't know, bro. I
have you thought about it at all? Like,
I thought of it. I wrote it down and I got the hell away from it. I said, "Oh no, I ain't doing that right now." Oh no.
What is the context?
You're not religious. Let me say this real quick, Smalls. You're not religious, Hits. You're not. Are you religious? Would you consider yourself religious?
No.
My pastor asks us that question all the time.
Yeah. Who are you first?
That's a religious question because he constantly, anytime I go to my pastor and I talk to him, it's funny. Have y'all ever noticed how these conversations always end with me, DQ, Hits, and Logic? But that's neither.
That's how they started. So
I was never. I was just waiting on DQ to actually hit the bus. But your pastor, my pastor always says, whenever you having some challenges or you're a little bit out of order, like he's the one where I got the if your shadow is in front of you, you're ahead of yourself. And
if you say it again,
if your shadow is in front of you, you're ahead of yourself. That's a way to humble yourself. Like if you constantly putting I, me, if you're constantly, when somebody has a problem, the first thing you say, well, I had that problem and I did this, or you're ahead of yourself. Your shadow's in front of you.
Okay.
Your shadow is always supposed to be behind you. You don't put the past in front of you. You put the what's in front of you should be clear. So it has a lot of different meanings, but he always goes into anytime you have an issue, it's because you're trying to fix it. Figure out who you are first. Are you faith, family, then business? Are you faith, family? Like where does your thing line up per se? And a lot of times I'll look at, that's why I asked Hits, was he religious? Because that's actually, to me, it's a religious question. Maybe to other people it ain't. It's an Afrocentric question or whatever. But for me, I'm best when when I'm faith family first. Mm-hmm. But I know my actions, I'm usually a businessman and a father first. And then those two
would be fun.
Those two intertwine. Those two intertwine all the time. But it would be mostly fun. I get lost. Yeah, I get lost when I put faith too far in the back, and then you can fix it in that way.
Well, I think that's brave of you to even admit in this sort of community, right? But in other words, basically you're saying that it would be how you try to live would be funds first, family, then faith, and not to say that you're putting the money.
And that's the absolute wrong way to live. No, business is. No, but that's to me. That's the absolute. No, for me it is because if it was, that's a way to live if it's just you and you don't affect anybody. When you have children and you have a wife, for me, I'm at my best when it's faith, family, and then everything else. When I'm putting too many things in front of my faith or too many things in front of my family, shit gets out of whack. Because then you start realizing like the other shit don't matter. But because here's another part. Some people are health first. Like, that's why it's a good conversation to have, because think about how you're doing all of these things and then I put my health to the back a lot of times. And eventually these are the things that are, when you start putting your family too far back or you start putting your health too far back, that shit will come back and bite you. It might come back in divorce papers. It might come back in a heart attack or stroke.
Or your faith. Because no one wants to hear that one in this. No one wants to hear that.
Anybody. Yeah, my faith. Because the one thing that faith will always do is humble me and give me more optimism. When I see things like George Floyd, my faith will help me with that. Not my faith in human. Because remember, it's not just faith in God; it's faith in humanity. It's faith in faith. Faith has a lot of things in it. If you didn't have any faith, what kind of person would you be? You gotta believe in. We all believe in things that are unseen. I don't know what you don't know what your kids are gonna be. You don't know what your business is gonna be. You don't know what tomorrow's gonna look like. You better have some kind of fucking faith.
That's a serious statement. Be okay. That's a serious statement, because you look around and listen to some of the arguments, people kind of sound like they didn't gave up on humanity.
Yeah,
that is a crazy ass way to look at the world.
Yeah, you don't have no faith.
First doesn't mean by like a long shot. Like if I'm a father first and then a husband second, it doesn't mean it's by a mile. Oh no, they're real close. But something has to be first. Don't have to be, but that the question would make you.
You're right.
It makes you think. What would you
something
consider
has to be first? Don't run from that hit.
Yeah,
yeah. Don't run from
don't
that.
have to.
Something.
Well, you say words like that, people are like, "Oh, you don't have to be." No,
because there's an order. Life has an order. Something has to be first. Something has to be first.
Yeah.
The reason why it was so interesting to me, guys, is because I've quite recently gone from being atheist to what I would say I'm more of an agnostic at this point. So I don't know what to tell people without that shit. Like it's a very lonely world.
It's a very hopeless world.
That atheist shit sounds cool, brass, until like you have medical problems that you didn't know about, or you get into a crash that you didn't expect, or
until you realize these niggas is lying. Everybody that calls atheists. Everybody that calls atheists. Let me tell you something right now. If you're so atheist that the doctor just told you your child has cancer and he don't have a chance, and you don't motherfucking pray to something, or motherfucking, or even if it ain't God, you don't do something if you don't have the will or the faith that this child is gonna live another. How many times has that happened when babies are born and the doctors say they ain't gonna live past 3 years old? You just accept that? Or do you have faith? Do you already see that child graduating from high school? So it ain't got to be faith in God once again. Atheism is just cool in this community because I realize a lot of anti stuff is cool in this community, and that's fine, right? That's how I'm not gonna knock somebody for their belief, but trust and believe, bro. A lot of these people that's telling you they atheists, when they get into these car crashes, they praying to God they live. When they burn their hand, they saying Jesus and stuff like that. Like don't let these people fool you, bro. These same atheists go to funerals. Why you going? For what? Ain't no afterlife. They just in the dirt, right? Why are you going? That's a pastor talking to you up there. He's reading scripture. You that atheist? You won't go see your best friend die? You won't see your best friend be sent off? You that atheist? Your baby can't be christened? You that much against something? Or you don't believe? I mean, it gets a little crazy. And if you want to do that, then fine. But trust and believe. A lot of these people is capping, Smalls. Stop. Don't believe these guys, bro. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. It ain't real. It's not real. A lot of times in the conscious community, it's like an atheism contest to see who can hate God the most. And I'm not telling anybody to be faithful, but I'm just telling you, I know, I don't know. It's very hard for me to believe when you get in a car crash, you're just like, I'm going to make it through. Like, I get it. I hear people say, oh my God, too much to believe that. So that's just me. That's my little stupid ass rant, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mujahideen's fire pit. So,
are you gonna do it? I didn't realize it's 9:30 in the morning every Tuesday.
Yeah,
you're gonna actually. I think the people that are signing up for it, I think we need to do a quick show on it and iterate the times, and then open it up to more people than just the Discord.
And two, how me and Mujahideen, man, I think I told everybody, I met him in Clubhouse, and when I was driving, I used to listen to their book club on Clubhouse. So there's people who may not be able to participate, right? They may just be listeners. Like in the morning, like say before y'all go live or something like that, there's people who may tune in just to listen to the material. They may not be able to engage because they're working or, on the way to work or something like that. But that's how me and met. I used to listen to their stuff on Clubhouse. So he found his way over here.
It's gonna be live.
It's probably it should be live in his pit. That's open down there. That's not a private room.
No. I'm saying live. Like, is this a YouTube thing or is this a private thing? That's what I'm saying.
No, I think it's just I think it's just in the chat for now. I think it's just in the Discord. I mean, for now, and then we'll see. Shit, we can record them. We don't have to stream them if we like it.
I think recording them
sounds, it looks good. Yeah, we can do that. Record them, check them out if it's worth going up. Because it's basically like a listen, then question, then answer session. It's not really like a freestyle. Definitely more formatted. So,
because my belief in people, I don't have much. I don't have much belief in people.
You talk to the right one. I have zero. I'm a cynic. Okay.
9:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, consistently, week after week. I believe one thing about people. They'll come into these shows. We can record live YouTubes, this, that, and the other. But once they have to come in this motherfucker to learn 9:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, that shit going to
well, just like anything, we expect people to join, right? See if it's for them, see if it fits their schedule, pop back out and pop back in. Now, I think how he has it set up, if you're not in there enough, you can't participate because now you haven't been following, you just in there, you can maybe come in there and listen, but it's going to be more difficult to have meaningful participation and finish on time if people haven't been following it along. So,
okay.
But that weeds itself out through time. You may start off with 10 people, end up with 5 every week, definitely. Like it just fits into their schedule. But like you said, if we record it and say do a replay, like later on in the evening, that's fine too. So that definitely may be an ideal too. You know, or I see how he does it. Maybe one of us could have just do it again at night or something like that. Whatever. But there's more ways to do it. So, and I'm sure that fits his schedule perfect. So, I know everybody back to school up here.
That's definitely why he set it up that way.